Hello, everybody, and welcome the finale episode of Call of Cthulhu, Path of Perdition. My name is Alex Xander Rubitsky, and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for the evening. You may just call me the Keeper. I am joined, of course, as always, by my dear, amazing, talented, and slowly descending into insanity friends from Internet Remix. Of course, we are joined by the one and only Split Guardian.
It's funny that you think I can get any more insane.
Right? Atwis is joining us, of course.
The ride's almost over.
We got ourselves an upgraded moon, better than the previous, otherwise known as Jordan. Inhaler. He did his inhaler. It's not drugs, kids. It's just an inhaler, which is a type of drug, so never mind. You know, it is. It be how it be, how it do, how it do.
All sulfate.
And of course, we are also have Kristen Trzynski.
Hello.
And last but certainly not least, we have Brodingles.
I got the goosies.
Them of the single bit, the Brodingles. Yes. Welcome, one and all. Oh my god, this is crazy. It's been a ride. I'm not even gonna do my usual, if this is your first time joining us spiel, because this is the last time. So if you're joining us now, no, go back to the beginning.
Too late.
This is the last Team Annihilation stream for our annual Camp Streamic show, you know? So if you've been wanting to donate bits, which, by the way, quick shout out to Tallulah and Herod Dryig for amazing donations. To everybody who has donated or even just watched along, made fan art, talked about how much they love the show, or just within themselves in their own special way appreciated what we were doing here. You have our hearts and you have our thanks for everything. So truly, from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you. But if you want to donate to my stream, to the Team Annihilation stream, I should say, do it. You know, check out our stuff. We have a coffee. We just do it. You know what? You know the rules at this point. We love you, and we're ready to take you. Give us your money. Anyway, so I mean that's really just kind of my usual spiel. It's been a wild ride of Camp Streamix. It's been another lovely summer with all of you. The cast and I are ready to dip right into what will be the end of Path of Perdition. And what that means for the continuation of Call of Cthulhu, well, we'll talk about that later. But for now, just buckle in and enjoy what's coming, because I am certainly ready to get into it. My players, are you ready to give this one last spin?
Let's fucking do it.
Fucking let's go.
Let's rock and roll, baby.
So, the last thing we established, not even going to do a full recap. I'm going to go back to what we ended on last session. After banishing the entity in the guise of Lester Goodman from your collective subconscious minds, you all woke back up in the waking world and realized you had regained your memories, you knew where Jackson Elias is, and subsequently, you know what to do next. But before we pick back up on that train, let's go down the tunnel of memory and reveal what has been missing all this time. So, after disembarking here at Albuquerque Station, James O'Connell, of course, turned in the body of Vito Castiglione to the proper authorities. And once having returned from a discussion of the events that transpired, many people found themselves standing outside on the platform of the station, off the California Limited, and just kind of getting some fresh air, stretching their legs, and as the groups were kind of clumped together, the conductor, Hector Barnhill, would have come off and said, ladies and gentlemen, just announcing very quickly that the California Limited will be experiencing an extended delay at the station for the next 2.5 hours. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway would like to express their deepest apologies for this inconvenience. Don't worry, we will be back on the rails. We just need to attend to some imperative matters of clearing everything with the authorities before we get back on schedule. Once again, the company would like to regard you with its deepest apologies, and we hope you all have a safe rest of your journey home. But until then, feel free to board and disembark the train at your leisure, stretch your legs, get some air. If you would like to go into town and indulge yourself for some food or for some brief sightseeing, please, by all means, just return back to the station on time. Thank you all so much, and again, sorry for the inconvenience. And Hector bowed his head before dipping back to attend to his other various train duties, leaving the 5 of you and Jackson Elias standing out on the train platform. Jackson, who just kind of gives a quirk of his eyebrows, puts his pipe in his mouth and lights a match and takes a few casual puffs from it, and just kind of surveys the scenery of both Albuquerque and the surrounding desert sands of New Mexico. It's like 5 o'clock in the evening. Oh yeah, this is an interactive memory, baby. Let's get to it.
Okay, make it sure.
Alright.
I was sitting there, I was like, should I start talking?
Oh yeah, this is an interactive memory, baby. There's roleplay in this one.
Yay!
Yay.
Can't wait to
I saw a peek into the future.
Jackson, get down! God.
Well, that was
All right, so I just got finished turning in.
Yeah, you got your money.
money?
You got paid. You got paid. You got it in. You straightened it all out with the police. You lied to their faces, but of course you gave them a story that is believable enough for them that it won't bite you in the ass for a while, you imagine.
Probably.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And James is with the rest of the group. at
Yeah,
this point?
you kind of like walk back over to the thrum of the familiar faces you've made over the last, day and a half on the train after dealing with the police. And since you can see just Jackson standing there smoking and everyone else kind of hanging tight for a moment.
Well, I got my money. I managed to
Yay!
get a little more out of that than I was hoping for. So, what are we doing now? We got to celebrate somehow.
And Mason's stretching. He's got like hands on hips, getting some nice deep lunges.
Sybil's
I don't know
watching,
about-
like,
I don't know about you guys, but to be completely honest, I don't want to remember the next few days. I want to party so fucking hard.
You know how tempted I am to just be like rip when he's stretching. No, because if they're known for anything, 1920s pants are known for their flexibility.
And Mason has nice pants because he does work.
Yes. To that, Mason, Jackson just kind of just chuckles as you're just stretching on the platform and just says, "Well, I don't know about you folks, but I definitely would like to appreciate the scenery of this Albuquerque a little bit before we board back on the train. Might take a look around, and I don't know, is anyone else feeling particularly peckish of the not train food variety?"
You
Oh,
had
wait.
me at not train food.
You see that, as you guys are kind of discussing that briefly, Salvador Suarez walks up to the group in his clean pressed suit and pencil mustache. Yeah, Mason just shoots him, and therefore the timeline is rewritten. No.
Mason pulls a gun, waits for the door to close, and then bam, bam, bam! No.
No, Sal Suarez walks up and says, just kind of just to all of you, he's looking at Jackson when he's saying this, but he's saying this to everybody. Sal says, indeed, a terrible business, but I am glad that we're putting it behind us from now on so we can embark upon the rest of our journey in, well, let us be honest, relative peace.
Oh, sorry, I'm so bad at remembering names, but you said you had some ghost stories, right?
I have heard the fair share of ghost stories, that is correct. Sal, you may call me Sal.
Sal. Well,
And I'd be happy to share a good deal of ghost stories with you, Miss Cordova. I would also like to, as I mentioned to Mr. Elias beforehand, may I entreat all of you to, during this extended delay of ours, to a fine lunch here in Albuquerque.
ooh, yes.
I will never say no to something like that. That sounds lovely.
I'd be more than happy to treat us. If you could give me just a moment to find a relatively respectful place in the nearby vicinity, I would be more than happy to treat you all to a lovely, exquisite, and most importantly, expensive lunch outing for all of your troubles. It's the least I can do, especially as a fan of Mr. Elias. And Jackson just goes, Mr. Suarez, you are too kind.
All right.
Sal says,
So,
yeah, just,
what are we thinking?
I would love to hear your options for what it is you prefer, and I can find some place nearby.
Oh well, shit. What is nearby?
I'll eat anything. Not picky.
I myself am quite a fan of good American dining cuisine, but then again, it is a soft spot of mine. If there's something else you would prefer here in Albuquerque, allow me to treat you to it.
Well, we are in the Southwest. Maybe something local-ish.
And Jackson says, as long as it's not South American, specifically Peruvian, I'm all right.
You know, a diner doesn't actually sound too bad.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I haven't been to a diner in a while. I could go for a milkshake.
Well, how about I find us a nice cafe Americana? Huh? Maybe a little something that's not quite of the tin can variety, but we will enjoy ourselves in relative peace and quiet and enjoy. What is it you say? A milkshake and a hamburger.
Yeah, let's do it.
Indeed. Give me a moment. I will come back. And Sal walks off. It's super important to note that Split's internet just dropped, so that's why James is quiet at the moment, so he'll be back soon. But yeah, zoom. Flash forward in the memories to sitting in a nice kind of like an American style cafe, something local, that the food is good, and definitely better than Fred Harvey dining train meals. All of you seated around in a nice, comfortable private booth with Sal and Jackson both smoking and light conversation. Sal is definitely flaunting some wealth and is making sure that you guys order really whatever it is you want and keep it coming if you guys want it that way.
Sybil, of course, orders multiple things, because listen, can she afford everything here? No problem? Yes. Is someone offering to pay for her? Great, she'll buy even more.
Yeah, but Sal regales, you specifically, Sybil, by the way, with some stories, like ghost stories. He's just generally collected over his years of traveling, both from America and some from, back where he's from in Spain, a couple of European ghost stories as well. And just kind of just intrigues you with some fun folklore.
I have so many questions. I wish I could remember, the specifics of the folklore that he knew. It's been so long.
Right? But he does bring up, actually, funny you mention that, he says, now, I know I mentioned this beforehand. He's kind of, leaning towards Jackson when he's saying this, but are you familiar with the 7 cities of gold? Otherwise known as the 7 cities of Cibola?
I am not, but I would love to hear about it.
Cibola? With Sybil?
Exactly, it sounds like my name.
That indeed it does, and indeed, Miss Cordova, you strike a golden, resplendent figure, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
He kind of reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a small little booklet, like a personal notebook, and kind of flips through it and sets on the table. It goes, the 7 cities of gold are a mythological number of cities of the ancient native world supposedly found on the American continents. Most famously known, of course, because Francisco Vasquez de Coronado searched for these 7 cities of gold. His conquistadors traveled the continents and for wealth and money, and he led a failed expedition to find these 7 cities, found a remarkable number of cultures across the American Southwest and the plains, and indeed many of his conquistadors founded some wealth in the southern continents, but never found these cities. I, in fact, was actually born in the same provincia as Coronado himself, the provincia of Salamanca. The legacy of the conquistadors is was fraught with a number of failures and ill-placed intentions. But I suppose you might be able to understand when I say I felt a sort of legacy in my blood from my birthplace in following in the footsteps of a man who sought his fortune. It's why I eventually sought gold myself, but of a different variety, that which is white and buried deep beneath the ground. Industry, American industry, I fell in love with it and I moved out here and I am a self-made businessman. I built my company up from the ground, but I've always lingered on those interesting folklore details of the conquistadors' explorations.
What is it exactly that your business deals in?
Well, the Coronado Mining Company primarily deals in mining salt out in Kansas. It's where I base myself. The roving plains of Kansas are, there's something intriguing about them. Not sure how else to say it. But I mean, at the end of the day, who doesn't need salt? Kind of like gestures to the salt shakers on the table of the restaurant.
Mason does take some and put some on his eggs because he got.
Oh, hell yeah.
For evening dinner.
So Mason's a man of culture. Good.
Yes. If you're gonna go to a diner, you fucking get pancakes. Like somebody has to get pancakes at the table.
So Jackson says, so Mr. Suarez, do you mind if I ask particularly, what does this folklore of the Seven Cities has to do with your business as a salt miner? And Sal says, well, it's always been a bit of a hobbyist interest of mine, but I've always maintained the possible belief that in Coronado's expeditions to find these seven cities, he was looking in the entirely wrong place. Jackson kind of says, how do you mean? And Sal responds, I believe might sound a little ridiculous, but I think he was focusing too much on what could only be seen above the surface of the earth. He kind of like flips
about
Go ahead,
the
Mason.
Underground Kingdom?
He like nods at you. Mason like flips like through his notebook and says, "Do you know why in so many cultures across the entirety of the globe, so many old mythological stories and legends posit that there is an underworld afterlife beneath the ground? Why do you think that is?"
I mean, I'm sure there are explanations. Many explanations, but have you been lucky? Have you found any evidence of these hidden cities under the ground?
I have come into a number of interesting ancient texts, not just from Coronado's expeditions, but also dating back long before then, from the natives of the regions, and even before then. Old stories, of course, but things that are recurrent enough as to explore with some detail the concept of a possibility of an ancient civilization having existed beneath the crust of the earth for uncounted generations. Legends, of course, perhaps, similar to the stories of Atlantis of the Grecian myths, but it is something to think about, no? It is fanciful, but even if I'm not, of course, speculating that such a society would still exist in the modern age. But I would not discount the possibility of mankind's tenacity taking itself beneath the crust of the earth to explore the caverns therein and building societies. After all, there are the Puebloan natives and various other native cultures who have built their homes in the side of rock formations. What stopped them, I ask you, from building underground?
The mole men, but you know, that's fine. I'm sure that perhaps ancestors could take them on.
Yeah, Sal definitely chuckles at that.
I'm sorry.
That's the moment.
You hit me with like a left hook out of nowhere.
She had such a straight face. She was like, well, it's the mole man, but
I admire your
and Neil said like whips at her real quick.
like, I mean,
mole men, but it is possible that if our ancestors could go get underground, if they were ingenious enough, perhaps they could take on the mole men as long as the mole men weren't armed with any sort of
How do you know
powers.
they weren't working together with the mole men?
Well,
Interesting
this
thing to
ancient-
think about.
All of this
you
is,
think our ancestors are mole men?
you know, all of this is very exciting to hear and speculate upon. But most of my research into the matter it comes from a number of texts procured to me by an acquaintance I met not too long ago, a collector of many different old tomes. But I have reason to believe that such an old civilization might exist very closely in the proximity of where Coronado was looking to begin with. My company, Coronado Mining Company, is out in Lyons. It's a town here in Kansas, and it is not too far from the site of a location called Quivira, which was supposedly one of the 7 cities. Never founded, of course, but I've been digging into spreading my business into excavation and attempting to find any evidence of such, and I dare I say, without giving away too much, of course, I think I'm on the breakthrough of finding something truly fascinating and revolutionary in human history. So Jackson ends up saying, "Well, that's very fine and good, Mr. Suarez, and I gotta say congratulations if that is the case, but I do want to say, why are you telling us all this?" And Sal says, "Well, Mr. Elias, I'm no stranger to the fact that I am a big fan of yours. Indeed, I did actually bring along a copy of Witch Cults of England." And you see that Jackson kind of goes, "Oh, well, thank you." And Sal says, would you terribly mind if I asked you to sign my copy?" And Jackson says, I'd be happy to. Yeah, sure. He, like, pulls out a copy of a book. Jackson opens it and, like, writes down, like, "Sal, thank you for the appreciation of my works. Darkness is everywhere, but the light prevails. Blood and kisses, Jackson Elias." Blood and kisses, Jackson Elias. And Sal says, "Thank you very much. Now, if you do not mind..." Oh, sorry, this is breaking character for a second. I just opened Streamlabs for a second to see that username Lester_Goodman donated $100. So terrifying.
What the fuck?
Did somebody rename themselves to Lester Goodman?
Apparently.
What the fuck? That's so great.
Hello,
do
Xander
not-
Rabitsky.
I
Here,
do not
have
see
some
a
money.
Lester Goodman in the user list.
Incredible. That's terrifying. No, but Sal says, I should say, "Mr. Elias, if it is not out of place for me to say, would the subject of the potential be of any interest to you as a folklorist? I would not go so far as to say that it would be material for your new book, but would it be something you'd be willing to maybe come to Lyons and see for yourself?" You see Jackson kind of like chuckles and says, "Mr. Suarez, may I call you Sal?" Yes, you may. Please go ahead." I'm flattered, and indeed, this is a very interesting subject, but, you know, most of my work lies in the occult, and I'm actually in the middle of preparing to write my next book at the moment, so I'm booked for the foreseeable future, but I'd be more than interested in hearing first-hand accounts. If you ever find anything interesting, you can write to me in New York. It's, actually speaking, by the way, Jackson kind of stands up. Since we have a bit of an extended delay, I'm gonna just go. I saw a phone out on the street. I'm gonna make a quick call to my publisher real quick and just let him know about some updated details on little Peruvian exploits, and also let him know I'm probably gonna be a bit later back into the city than I was planning. So, if you don't mind. And Sal says, "Of course, of course." Yeah. Jackson gets up and like walks outside. You can see him in the windows outside of the restaurant, like walk across the street to a payphone and just put a few coins in and pick up the receiver. So he just begins to talk across the street. And Sal's like, "So how did you meet Jackson Elias, if you do not mind my asking?"
Oh, well, we met him on a little trip to Peru.
That is exciting, South America. I wonder, did you happen to see any interesting details about the conquistadors while you were out there in the South Americas?
Well, we did see some vampires, but like, I mean,
mean, I guess there were some, but like, I mean, I'm more interested in the vampire part. So like.
Yeah, Sal like quirks his head at that, but like doesn't like, comment on it beyond that. But yeah, what does happen though, and again flash forward in the memories, is Jackson goes outside, is on the phone, calling his publisher, whoever that might be, and while he's outside, a little bit later, you guys hear like a revving engine from outside the windows. Oh right, real quick. Yeah, no, that's right. You're like a revving engine, and you watch like an old beat up like car like screeches to like a halt like right across the street in front of the payphone where Jackson is, and you watch as like three like men quickly get out of the car, roughly grab Jackson Elias, stuff him into the trunk, and then speed off down the street.
Jackson! Did I get the plates?
Can you make a spot hidden check as it speeds away very quickly to see if you can grab the plates, Kit?
No!
You unfortunately do not catch the... Oh, critical failure. Oh, you know what? It's a critical failure. Kit's in the bathroom when this happens.
Does Mason catch a look at the plates?
I will allow one more spot hidden check, sure.
One.
Are you?
Yeah!
So yes, Mason, you see the plates. You're able to catch the plate as the beat-up old car speeds off down the street and then screeches around a nearby corner. Kit, who's in the bathroom, unfortunately, everyone kind of like is like frozen for a moment. But what is the immediate reaction of the group who's here to see this?
Sybil immediately just like goes to run outside and chase after the thing. As
yeah.
if she'd ever be able to chase it down, but she would.
Mason also runs.
Yeah, no, the two of you like get up and book
better
it.
idea.
Oh yeah.
Sybil immediately runs out to the road and like waves a hand. Just like maybe like do I call for the police or do I just wave for someone to come help me? The real question.
Sybil, stick a leg out! Stick a leg out!
Sybil immediately just sticks a thumb out like I need help. Hey, somebody help me!
What the
Mason
fuck?
in
Okay.
turn, this isn't working! And Mason pulls up the sleeve of his leg and like shimmies his little leg a little bit, hoping for a taxi.
Kit, you come out of the bathroom to see that, like, Sunil, James, and like Sal are like up in arms, and like that Mason and Sybil are like showing some skin out in the street with some panicked enthusiasm.
Please, I need help! Somebody please help me! I am a
Someone
small
took
woman
Jackson.
incapable
We
of
don't know
helping
what's going
myself.
on. They're showing some leg for some reason.
Kit like chokes as he looks out the window and sees Sybil and Mason and just, thank you, Sunil. You're very concise. I appreciate it.
Did my attempts to flag for help?
I'm gonna ask
mine.
I'm gonna ask Sybil to make a luck check first.
Damn it. Oh, I'm so bad at luck. Well,
Yeah, and then Mason, feel free to roll a luck check as well. Okay. What did he do again? What did he do again?
He stuck a little leg out. He took his fucking leg. He lifted up like the bit of his pants, and he started getting a little shimmy.
Okay.
He showed off
A
them
car
sweet calves.
screeches to a halt in the street. It's like a bigger like there's like a chauffeur in the front, and the back window rolls down, and then there's like this like 80-year-old like dilettante woman who goes, "Hey there, sailor."
Hi there, gorgeous. Someone kidnapped our friend. Do you mind if we use your ride?
What? And you see that like Sal like jogs out and goes, friends, he's all right. Let me quickly procure a vehicle for us to use. I can call somebody for this. It's no need. Lady, please go on. And the car like screeches off. But Sal quickly places some swift calls to get a vehicle. During this little interlude with that, what is the group's immediate like conversation with each other?
Did anyone get the plates of the car? Was it make and model?
I got the license plate. I don't know the make and model. I don't really know much about cars, but you know what I do know? Numbers. I got the numbers. All
Great.
6 of them.
Kit like holds up a finger and like nips back into the cafe and gets like a napkin and like a pen. Write them down so we don't forget.
Okay. What was the license plate?
I give you the numbers. Do not ask me for a license plate number.
Okay. Okay. Xander gives you the numbers.
3HQYJM. There you go. I don't.
3HQYJ.
Anyway,
Huh?
since this is a memory and not, we're gonna keep moving forward here. Sal Suarez rents a large vehicle from a nearby garage by placing a few calls that he happily has brought to the restaurant. So, you know, he hops in the driver's seat and fucking like takes off with everyone in tow. Before this happens exactly, so Neil, you place a quick call to your boss real quick, because on this whole like endeavor, you're like, maybe I should let my boss know I might be there's a delay. This corroborates with the first phone call you apparently made, which was you are panicked, but you said there was a big delay and you'd let him know when you had more information. And you guys speed off. Now, the search for information is a little hinky, but ultimately what this leads to is you guys making it to Santa Fe. Following a quick trail for the rest of that evening, you guys would arrive in Santa Fe. Through this, the investigation of who took Jackson Elias and what they wanted and what was happening began. The next day, Sunil, you placed a call with the additional information of being like, okay, cool, so I'm indefinitely delayed from coming to Chicago. I will let you know as soon as I can hop on. So this is 2 of the 3 calls you made to your boss during the missing week. Sal, who is happily flaunting money about to assist in this whole endeavor. A number of things happen during this week. You guys have rooms at the DeVargas Hotel that Sal pays for. You begin to find information tracing from the people who kidnapped Elias to local, the car traces back to local ne'er-do-wells, like local criminals, who in turn point in the direction of a supposed religious sect called the Disciples of the Xanthus Diadem. It is only within the first few days of being here that Mason gets shot. What happens there is that while investigating a lead on the car and supposedly the Disciples, you guys made your way to an old garage out, in the Santa Fe area, and one of the drivers who kidnapped Jackson you all saw was a mechanic there. In the ensuing chaos that followed, it was Kit and Mason who were together during this. The driver pulled a gun on Mason, shot Mason through the shoulder, and then tried to flee out the back. Kit, who did not bring his full-on rifle with him, quickly grabbed Mason's gun from him and chased after the pursuer, but lost him. And then in the ensuing days, as more and more evidence began to stack up, this leads to what eventually became the shootout at the church. Welcome back, Split. You're on your phone now, but it's alright. We're glad you can be here. Would someone like to catch him up very quickly?
Somebody, please. I fucking hate
Right,
technology.
So Sal was telling us a lot about what he kind of did, all the stuff about underground kingdoms and things like that, things that conquistadors were like searching for, all this and that. Jackson got kidnapped right in front of the diner. I flirted with an old lady for a second, and we pursued. We ended up going into Santa Fe, basically just kind of investigating where Jackson Elias got taken, and we went to this one spot, and then Mason got shot. And what was the name of the religious group again, Xander?
The Disciples of the Xanthus Diadem.
The Disciples of the Xanthus Diadem, you know, were all through this town. Shit's weird. We just got to the part where Mason got shot by a mechanic who was one of the people that actually kidnapped Jackson before.
Yeah.
Basically, we're investigating in the town right now.
But a couple other things of interest before the shootout happened. Before things really kicked off, you guys all got dinner that Sal paid for at a local restaurant, which is the receipt that James found in his wallet from said dinner. And Sunil, during in the days leading up to the shootout, this was 3 days before you called your boss again from Madrid. there was kind of a bit of downtime where, you're shooting the shit with Sal, and he was talking about how it's like, he's talking about his, like, work in mining, and he's recently been expanding his interest into the, fields of the uranium and, like, radium industry. However, Sal expressed a deep awareness of the fact that, like, he's kind of iffy about, like, radioactive metals, and he thinks that it's kind of being abused, and he thinks it's, he seems to be a bit more on the side of the science that you study, Sunil. So in the conversations that followed that, you ended up finding out that he had been recently buying up uranium mines for the purpose of helping fund radium money towards actual proper radioactive materials research and applications that are not harmful to the general public. This is the lucrative opportunity you told your boss 3 days before, 3 days after, 3 days later in Madrid. Because in this conversation, when he found about your work, Sal was actually offering to help bankroll the research institute with a lot of money for uranium research. Since he, what was that?
Nothing.
Okay, since that he thinks there's a number of really amazing technological developments that could be made using, like, uranium and radioactive power, but within respecting it and not in a way that would not harm people. He, in fact, may have subtly winked that he was maybe bribing a few miners throughout the southwest of America, of mine owners, to discreetly give uranium to his company shipments for a hefty payout, instead of usually reporting uranium deposits that are discovered to general mining companies, since he maintains the belief that general mining companies give into the general population sense of, oh yeah, radium, let's fucking use that shit for everything. I think that's dangerous. This explains the mine in Madrid was being bought up by the Coronado Mining Company for a discreet under-the-table payout. Because he wanted to buy, because uranium had been found in one of the mines, and he wanted to buy that up. So that's what you had told your boss, that Salvador Suarez, not specifically about Sal Suarez, you just hinted that there was an extremely lucrative opportunity to the research, and that you would have more details once this pressing thing was done first. What else? I'm just double checking everything. If I'm missing anything, please question me, and I will reveal to you what the missing memory is. But I think that was the main thing. Kit actually continued to hold onto Mason's gun from him while he was injured, since the soldier in Kit overtook the fact that it's like, I'm not going to let you carry a gun and maybe use it when you are injured. No. This reflects nicely in the slap. Also, yes, Kit, you actually patched up Mason. This does not yet explain why there was blood on your hands when you woke up. But this does explain why Mason was wearing a different shirt 3 days later. 2.5 days later. Because he was shot on a different day.
Mm-hmm.
Then the shootout. When you guys narrowed the location down and then found out more information and realized that time was of the essence, you did not walk into the church planning for there to be a shootout, but you stormed the place to get Jackson out. The cult, who is in the middle of seemingly wanting to sacrifice Jackson Elias in a ritual, he was supremely drugged up and out of it. In this whole ordeal, while most of everybody went through the front door in sheer number, Sal and James went around the back to, like, sneak in through the back door to see if they could help, like, get a kind of, like, surround the cultists from all sides. However, when you were walking around the back, James, Sal clobbed you over the head and knocked you unconscious while all of your friends ran inside. And in the ensuing chaos, Sal revealed himself a turncoat. And actually started the gunfight by firing a shot, and in the confusion that followed, grabbed a rather dozing Jackson Elias and dipped out the back. This led to the shootout, where Mason was in the car because he had his gun taken, and he watched as Sal loaded Jackson up into his car and quickly drove off. During the ensuing gunfight, which spilled outwards onto the streets, the gunfight that you were having was not a chasing with the cultists as the sheriff thought. You were not chasing escaping cultists. You were chasing Sal Suarez absconding with Jackson Elias, trying to shoot out his car while one of his hired men was shooting back at you, trying to stop you from following them.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Any questions so far before we get to what happened in the desert and why you're missing your memories in the first place?
So I was
Who did I
left
beat
at
up?
the church?
Huh?
So I was left at the church?
No, your friends grabbed you and threw you in the car while you were dazed and unconscious, but you came too. No. Like they found you unconscious around the back, and they brought you with them. Yeah. Your fists were bruised. Yeah, because you kind of got in a brief fisticuff brawl with Sal's kind of like henchman driver when you guys pursued them. Sal tore off into the middle of the desert to an old burnt out shed. And this led to a confrontation where Sal very explicitly stated that he is not trying to hurt anybody, but he simply cannot let an opportunity like Jackson Elias witnessing his work pass by unnoticed. During this ensuing chaos, this led to Mason getting in a fisticuff brawl with his henchperson inside the burnt-out farmhouse. However, said brawler brought out a knife and tried to stab Mason.
Stab James or Mason?
Sorry, it's Mason, who he was brawling with. Stab Mason. And during that whole ordeal, a gun was picked up from the church. The guy who shot Mason when he was killed in the shootout, his gun was quickly grabbed since someone else was out of bullets. You grabbed the .38 revolver that he shot Mason with, and then you shot the guy who you shot Sal's bodyguard who was trying to stab Mason. This was the bloody bullet you found left over under the floorboards of the burnt-out farmhouse.
Who shot the guy?
Kit. Yeah, no, Kit had Mason's gun. Who did I write that ran out of bullets? Simply, you were only 2 bullets short. James, you still had your gun and you had Bosco's gun, but you had just picked up this gun as a spare in case you needed it. That's right, I wrote down. Since might as well have 3 guns, why not? Yeah.
Fancy
I think what I wrote down is that you actually ended up having like your gun jammed, so you grabbed a spare, instead of like trying to clean it out in the middle of like the street gun shoot. So yeah. Regardless, my notes got a little confused there. My bad. However, there was this confrontation with Sal in the desert, who was holding Jackson at gunpoint, and he said that there was no need for this to be all up in arms. And then a car started approaching. None of you had seen this car coming down the main desert, but you just remember that it was very dark out. This was after the sun had gone down that night. And a car pulled up, and a gentleman got out of the car with a briefcase. And Sal kind of explained that he says that all of his work was building up to this moment. I have so much that I need to finish, and unfortunately, I don't think that you should be standing in my way. The gentleman, who Sal introduced as, I'd like you to meet the man who first led me on the trail of this discovery of a lifetime. This is one Mr. Lester Goodman.
I fucking knew it.
And the gentleman with the briefcase, with a grin on his face, just said, I seem to have walked into a little bit of a standoff. So, sorry, I don't mean to intrude. Just, let me get by you there with your guns and your... Oh, my goodness. The gentleman walks up and says, please, there's no need for all of this senseless violence. What I have to show you can corroborate that Mr. Suarez is simply acting in the best interest of historical and indeed industrial value. It's something that I think all of you will want to see.
And what's that?
Well, can I open my briefcase without you shooting me?
Mason looks towards the group. Are you curious enough?
Kit will nod with the sort of like reasoning of if he has anything in the briefcase, it's gonna take him a while to get it out if it's dangerous. So why not?
Yeah.
We all have constraint on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lester grins and sets the briefcase on the ground, very smooth and suave. And he says, I'm a purveyor of fine antiquing and books, and Mr. Suarez is not simply acting out of what you might prescribe to as the notion of insanity, but he's working off of an actual revolutionary theory. It pops up in the briefcase. You see there's like this glowing like crystal like it's a fusion like crystal and metal like geometric shape that he holds up in the air, and he says, I was the first one who gave Suarez the lead on the Sinayan documents, the possible proof that there is an entire civilization beneath our very feet. This is an artifact that could corroborate that. It's called a beacon. Would you like to see what it does? I assure you, it's quite safe.
Yes.
You see, he like holds the thing up in the air, and you watch it like it catches, like it begins to glow from the inside, and he like releases it, and it like levitates in the air. This is a piece of Sinayan, or as the Spaniards called it. I think it subscribes by another name. I think they call it Kinayan or Kinyan. The texts are a little loose on the subject, but I've given a great deal of information I think you will also find quite valuable. The Kinayans are still very much alive today. They have mastered the power of the atom. This recovered artifact is proof of their exploits. And I think you'll find it very, very interesting material. And Sal says, we are going contact the Hinayans. The first contact in who knows how long. Who knows what we will discover. I've already been sending expeditions down below into the earth from my company. It exists! While we have not found these civilizations, there is a world that you could not imagine beneath our feet. During all of this, Sybil, you're the one to notice that in the headlights of the cars, Lester Goodman did not have a human shadow. His shadow was long, gaunt, and a writhing mass of pustules and tendril growths that just kind of faintly dispersed itself in the light. And you were the one who raised a gun in this ensuing confusion, and you just fucking capped Lester Goodman twice.
Get it!
One of the bullets
Fuck yeah!
passed. One of the bullets missed Lester, hit the crystal Kinayan beacon, and shattered it.
Shit.
And then the resulting explosion, you watched as Lester Goodman was torn apart in an inhuman screech, and the blast knocked all of you unconscious. Except for Sal Suarez and the drugged out Jackson Elias, who was far enough away from the blast.
And what about the mask?
Oh yes, thank you for
What
reminding me.
happened
Thank
to
you.
the
Yes, that was a small detail. During all the chaos, you wanted to keep the mask. Like, Kit is vocally wants to get rid of that thing, but the compromise was instead of having it on you, you guys put it in a safety deposit box at the Sunflower Bank to keep it out of your personal belongings and away from all the problems. Does that answer people's questions of the missing week? Does that line up with everything?
So you mentioned at the beginning that we knew where
Yes,
Jackson Elias
you knew
was.
that Sal Suarez has taken Jackson Elias from everything he said about wanting Jackson to see this moment. He's taken him to the Coronado Mining Company in Kansas.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's really going. Okay, and then last question.
Yes.
James was up before everyone else.
Yes.
Was there any specific reason?
Yes. He was... So the blast had a kind of an effect radius. James was a bit further back with his gun trained on Sal and Jackson. He got the least of the explosion. So he woke up extremely disoriented, but earlier than everybody else, and just in a feverish state stumbled out of the desert. Because he didn't have his full faculties. But that explosion imprinted something of that person, Lester Goodman, onto all of you. Everything makes sense
Not
now?
anymore, fucker.
Everything line up? Any questions?
Uh,
So, I believe that is everything. We cut back present as all of you have your memories back.
whew.
Even you, Mason. Yeah. No, even though you weren't in the dream. Yeah. No, you, like, they creep back into you as your friends succeed.
Okay.
No good. Two timing son of a.
We gotta go to Kansas and kick his ass.
All right. Well, seems like we have a Spaniard to hunt down.
I know where the mask is.
We should maybe leave it there, locked away, pay up front. Can't harm anyone if it stays in the safety deposit box, right? That way we know where it is.
It won't stay in that box forever. I mean, if we're gonna hold on to it, I'd rather hold on to it at a place that, you know, we could get to faster. After all this is over, of course. We'll leave it there for now. But
Yeah,
afterwards,
we can
let's just
work out
take it
where
to
it
New York.
goes. Yeah.
There'd be at least 3 of us there. So,
Jackson first.
Jackson first.
Jackson first.
The mask don't matter to me. Y'all can bury it for all I care.
That's what I'd want to do. I'd want to throw it out of the window of a moving train and never know where it landed, but obviously not everyone agrees.
I mean, I have my thoughts, but, well, our friend's been kidnapped to Kansas or wherever.
Yeah.
How do we
we
go
have
about
more important things.
looking for him?
Is Bill still here?
Bill is still sitting by. He's like putting out the fire and he's like wrapping up all the ceremonial ingredients he was preparing, letting you guys kind of have this moment. By the way, just to pull the curtain aside really quickly, I determined way back when that Sybil shot Lester Goodman, and it worked out so well that she's the one who dismissed him with the spell. So that's actually just a great little lineup.
Sybil just really
Sybil.
doesn't like Lester Goodman.
Bodied his ass.
Sybil,
Holy fuck.
thought remover, 1921 edition.
Just don't like fuckboys.
Let's
I-
think about any trains that are gonna be going to Kansas soon. Possibly. Maybe.
Can find out. We have to head back into town.
Yeah. Yeah, we should just get there as soon as we can.
And we'll need help. So we should probably call the sheriff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He said he'd help us out.
I don't know if the sheriff's
Help
gonna chase us all the way up to Kansas.
But he can maybe help us find someone who can take us to Kansas. Or at least give us the capabilities to get there. We can't exactly go on our own. Well, not on our own. You know what I mean. Vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about it in the car. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
So, here's what I'm going to say. For the sake of brevity, this is the finale, and I love all the excruciating details. However, I'm going to relegate this to asking you as all a group what your preparations for this want to be. Obviously, you can look into getting a train to Lyons, Kansas, though you don't know if a train is stopping near there. Alternatively, you may be able to, since you have thus far been pretty well off with your money, get some cars that can drive to Kansas versus taking a train. Up to you. But I will ask generally, this is now the moment for you guys to talk about your preparations and anything that we can resolve any questions you have for me and the kind of overview the build up here. So go ahead.
Really quickly before people go into that and discuss things, does Kit have any idea where his fucking rifle is? It's a little sentimental.
So, oh, thank you. Yeah, because you would have blacked out for this though, so you don't know where you guys' car went. However, it was in the trunk of the car that you guys were using at the time.
Was it like a rented car?
It was one of the cars that Sal had rented for you guys.
Do we know where he rented it from?
It was a company in Albuquerque, but like he had the money to like throw down for like extended use. If you had to guess anything, if the car wasn't handed in, it might have, Sal might have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess the question is, should we bet on us being able to get cars and getting over there, or should we take the chance with a train stopping by there?
What would be faster?
Cars, by far.
Cars than cars, because Sybil, money stuff, like, even with discounting the Peru stuff, Sybil could get you cars.
Yeah, we can just, if we get a bunch of vehicles, we can just straight up there. Take less than a day, maybe?
I'm actually going to calculate the speed real quick for you. I'll let you know.
Definitely not less than a day.
Well, we're not gonna get anything at this hour of night, so I propose we go by the Sunflower Bank, make sure the safety deposit box is paid up, make sure we know how long it's paid up for. I'm gonna go by the rental place and see if our vehicle was turned in.
It would actually take you a day, less than a day, because my little trick for figuring out distances and speeds for Call of Cthulhu is using Google Maps. I just toggle off the highways option, so it's only decide. It's like only a 10-hour drive. They're using just roads that would have existed back then. So yeah,
less than a day.
Yeah, less than a day. You can get there in less than a day. Yeah, that's much faster than a train.
And then I'm not sure if we would need any other supplies or anything. Going to the sheriff wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'm not sure how he would be able to help us, or if he'd even be willing to.
Yeah, it's far. It's far.
I want to make sure we at least have guns and everything together. Make
You
sure
probably
that
set
we're
us up with some
stocked on
munitions,
everything.
yeah.
Yes.
I'd rather someone know where we're going.
Also that.
And we can, of course, make any calls or wires to anyone we need to contact. Oh?
I should probably call off a favor I called when I was in prison.
Oh yeah, I should probably call Deborah and let her know I'm not in jail anymore.
Cut to Sybil calling Deborah. Sybil, darling! Haven't heard back from you yet. What's going on?
I'm not in jail anymore.
That's great. I'm so happy for you, sweetheart.
Yeah, it
Okay.
turns out actually we were shooting up a cult, and so actually everything's fine.
Well, that all legally checks out. All right. Well, you have a great day, Sybil. I'll see you when you're back in Baltimore. Oh my God.
Bye.
Yeah. Goodbye, Sybil. Click. What's up, Alice?
Sorry, I just remembered we do have to swing by the police station so that everyone can get their fucking mugshots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone gets their
Very
photographed
important.
mugshots. Yes. Everyone can the next day go to the Sunflower Bank to get the intact mask from the safety deposit box 410.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely.
While we
That's
were
it, ammunition.
leaving it there, we were just making sure it was paid up for a while.
Oh, you're leaving it there. That's right. Sorry. Yes. Okay, cool. Yes. It's still there, and you pay it up the next morning to leave it there for a while. In dealing with the sheriff, oh my God, here's the thing. Legally, the sheriff can't, like, give you weapons, but he's definitely willing to give you guys some extra ammunition for your guns. Like, he can definitely help. That's the least he can do, but legally, he can't cross the state border with you about a crime, and he also legally cannot give you, like, police weaponry. But he helps a little bit where he can to give bonus ammunition, and that's probably the best he can do.
Would Kit be able to keep the gun that he picked up off of the dead officer? It wasn't given to him.
If he doesn't bring it up to him, if he doesn't bring it up to the sheriff, then... would he bring that up to the sheriff or no?
No.
Honestly, no, he wouldn't.
Yeah, no reason. Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta call off Aphrodite.
Oh, hey, Mason, can I say something real quick?
Uh-huh.
Since you bring this up, I think that based on what we've talked about for some things, I think after you woke up, now that like the adrenaline of like your failure in the dream has like begun to fade, and now you're like this like newfound determination of like helping Jackson with the rest of your friends in something that's a bit more rooted in reality and sanity, despite everything else. I think that as the buzz is wearing off, is it reasonable to say that Mason's beginning to feel something stirring inside of him that is kind of a resentment towards Aphrodite?
Yeah, actually, like a lot. It's kind of like, let's see, he's 20 now, so that's about 4 years of dealing with that. That he's ready to kind of put behind him. Not only put behind him, but probably destroy once he gets back.
Okay. So you like hesitate over the phone with the thought of calling her, but then you decide, fuck it, you're not going to talk to her ever again. You're done with that life. Yeah. That is the moment as you stand there with the phone receiver in your hand that you decide that life is over. Yes, your life ended out here. Now you're going to make a new one for yourself. You have the money. Fuck Aphrodite. And you put the receiver in. Click.
Yeah. Fuck it. And he's all good to go, so he gets back in the car. He's set. Solid.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking I assume the call James would make, it's just quick like that.
Yeah, just quick, like you were able to resolve that situation very quickly.
It's like, hey, no, you still owe me. Fucking click.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
This was a non-starter. You owe me. Does Sunil do anything?
Sunil, God, I've been thinking about this for a while now, and now he just genuinely has reason to do it. He calls his boss, and he straight up, like, to not mince words with the conversation, he just kind of ends with, "No one's actually that good, ever." And he's just, he basically lets him know that it's just like the deal is not worth it, and it's probably gonna fall through within the next couple days.
That's a bummer to hear, Mr. Panday. Very sad to hear that. Well, I look forward to your arrival in Chicago so we can get a proper start on our work. When do you expect that to be?
You know, I'll call you.
All right, Mr. Panday, you know where to find me. Damn shame. But we're gonna do good work all the same.
All the same. And then Sunil hangs up.
What a good man.
I love the deal, motherfucker. This is fucking good shit.
Character growth, baby. It truly blows my mind that we've able to accomplished some really fucking satisfying character growth in like 9 episodes. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Y'all are great. So, anything else anyone wants to resolve before setting out for Kansas to confront the heart of this corruption?
Kit would first like to see if he can stock up on any supplies he may be missing out of his medical kit, since obviously it got used. And then second off, he's too much of a coward to make a phone call, so he is going to send another telegram to Erin in Boston and let her know that he'll be in Kansas and that it'll be a while, and he'll try to keep in touch. And did she actually send a wire back to the hotel in response?
You would have sent that tonight, so no, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
Like, tonight and into the next morning, so no, it would take a little bit, like, at least another day before anything came of that.
Okay. Yeah, so it would just be, I'm gonna be in Kansas. It'll be a while. I'm not coming home for a while, and I'll try to keep you updated.
All right. Anything else? You guys have agreed to get some cars, take yourselves, because you can't take the sheriff's car, to take cars up into Kansas to the Coronado Mining Company and confront the root of this whole ordeal, whatever this is. Oh yeah, sorry, one more quick detail that I totally skimmed over is that the connection between the cult and Salvador, the cult had a number of people in Santa Fe who worked as industrial engineers, and I was actually using them for some kind of research into building something that for kind of outsourcing some information. And the trade-off there was he gave them Jackson Elias, a worthy sacrifice, but fully with the intent of like not letting them actually get him. So there's some little details that I forgot to mention.
So it was totally a setup. Like they totally weren't.
Yeah, he said it all. Sal was the mastermind behind everything. And the most fucked up part of it, that to you guys' knowledge, Sal didn't plan to meet Jackson Elias. He just did. It was coincidence. He was been on his way back to the company to do his own things. He met a man he idolized, and he made the plan in motion from there. He is responsible for everything that's transpired, roughly, and he's been playing the game in his own favor.
Quick thinker.
Very quick thinker. Why he?
I'm gonna beat the shit out of him.
Oh yeah.
I'll fucking kill him.
So, oh goodness golly. Okay, here we are. Let's see. Any other thing I need to resolve in Santa Fe before anything else goes down? Joanna Daisy. I mean, genuinely just kind of a very nice human being, and just kind of would impart upon you all. She doesn't really understand what it is that you're going through, but she wishes you all luck in those endeavors. Bill, and before you would have left the campsite, he would have imparted upon you, "It is my duty to continue to look after the dreamers of this region. I hope that you find peace and are able to aid your friend. Until then, walk a simple path, dream easy, and find happiness in the simple things, my friends." And, yeah, that would have been Bill's exeunt.
Can I come back?
Back as in to...
I want to do the dreaming thing again. And this is all over. I want to come back.
The descent into the dream is not something I control, dear girl.
Oh.
That is something you will have to find for yourself. The stairs manifest in the dreams of those who can travel. If they appear before you again, take caution and seize your opportunity. But do not be disheartened if you do not find a dream for many, many years.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool. And any last words between the sheriff, Shoemaker, and the rest of you? He just genuinely is very appreciative that he doesn't know what the fuck has happened, but he's glad to be putting it behind him, and at the very least, he can do what he can to make sure that any little discrepancies that have happened here never are noted by history. He's an honest man, but you deserve better.
Specifically, I think it would be a good idea to like tip him off that those people are gonna build something.
Yeah.
That's an important thing.
Sorry, no. Point of order. They were diverting information for something. They're building something for Sal that seems to have already been accomplished. That was his connection to the cult. There were interesting minds amongst them that he was mining, pun intended, for his own purposes.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Everything makes sense. Everything lined up so far. Any other questions?
Yep.
Yep.
Kid, is it a bad time for you to teach me how to drive?
Yes. It's very bad time.
All right, kid. You take one, I'll take the other.
Sure, sounds good. And Mason, if we take a break, I can take a few minutes and talk you through it.
That'd be lovely.
Just a few minutes.
Just a few minutes. You got it.
So Mason, do you want to ride with him and learn as you watch?
I don't see why not. And Mason's gonna trot his way over to the front passenger seat, not the front seat. Passenger seat, and he just gets in the car. He's ready. He's ready to fucking go.
All right, who's coming with me?
I will.
He is going to open the fucking door for her.
Oh, thank you.
Like a gentleman.
What a gentleman.
What a gentleman.
Oh, gets in the car.
Excellent. You all gear up and you make your way out of the American Southwest up into the plains of Kansas to put this to bed and save your friend, Jackson Elias. We're gonna go to a quick break. So, everyone, stay right where you are. We're gonna end this. Stay tuned. Right back.
Astrophobos by H.P. Lovecraft. In the midnight heavens burning, through ethereal deeps afar, once I watched with restless yearning an alluring aureate star, every eye aloft returning, gleaming nigh the Arctic car. Mystic waves of beauty blended with the gorgeous golden rays, fantasies of bliss descended in a mirrored Elysian haze, and in lyre-born chords extended harmonies of Lydian lays. There, thought I, lies scenes of pleasure, where the free and blessed dwell, and each moment bears a treasure freighted with a lotus spell, and there floats a liquid measure from the lute of Israfel. There, I told myself, were shining worlds of happiness unknown, peace and innocence entwining by the crowned virtue's throne. Men of light, their thoughts refining, purer, fairer than our own. Thus I mused, when o'er the vision crept a red delirious change, hope dissolving to derision, beauty to distortion strange. Hymnic chords in weird collision, spectral sights in endless range. Crimson burned the star of sadness, as behind the beams I peered, all was woe that seemed but gladness, ere my gaze with truth was seared. Cacodemons mired with madness through the fevered flickering leered. Now I know the fiendish fable that the golden glitter bore. Now I shun the spangled sable that I watched and loved before. But the horror, set and stable, haunts my soul forevermore.
Welcome back, everybody. So, let us resume. So on the road to Kansas, everyone in their cars, on their way. What's going on?
I mean,
So are we who are we starting with? We starting with us or you?
No, start
Okay.
with you guys pick who you guys want to start with. I'm fine with whatever.
can we
So-
finally flirt?
Yeah, we can finally flirt.
We can finally flirt. Proceed.
So while they're just out on the road, I assume actually that they're following Kit's car,
Yeah,
Just-
probably.
just so it's like there's less of a focus on the road. There's a look over every now and then. It's just like, am I following him? Cool. And he's just driving, one hand on the wheel, just been doing this for fucking years, and he's just.
You really know your way around a vehicle.
Yeah, doing a lot of traveling in my time.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Kind of
right.
have to. I'm at work.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Right, you are a bounty hunter, and I have been wanting to sit down with you forever. And so, anyway, what's the scariest thing you ever got into?
Scariest. When you say got into, I need you to be a little more specific.
I mean, how many people have you killed?
That is a good question. After a while, I gotta tell you, you kind of lose count.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there any rugged adventures, got any cool scars or anything? I don't know. I've never actually met a bounty hunter before, so I'm not quite sure what to ask, but I'm very curious.
Well, if you want scars, I got scars. A couple of them, actually. One here from when I got shot in the war, and he just, points, just a quick tap onto his left shoulder. And one right up here, as he, points down to just the side of his abs. got ran through with a bayonet.
Ooh. Sounds painful.
Yeah, no, shouldn't be alive.
Wow. But you are.
Luckiest man in the world. Can't take me out that easy.
Anything from outside the war? Or...
I've been a lot more careful. So hopefully, and I don't think I gotten anything in the week that we lost, so I guess I got smarter too. But hey, I didn't really check, so I'm sure next time we stop, I'll let you take a look.
I mean, I wouldn't mind checking.
What about you, Miss Cordova? You haven't told me a thing about you.
Oh, well, I mean, there's not much interesting to say. Cordova, inherit all the money.
Cordova, small girl, rich, fights vampires, loves the occult.
Yeah, I'm studying the occult up at Miskatonic, just when I feel like I go on adventures. I have a lot of friends all over the place. I just kind of like exploring, seeing things that catch my interest.
Oh, exploring, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
Well.
nothing else to do, right?
Oh, of course not. There's nothing better to do in this world than explore. It's too big. But hey, maybe after all this is done, you and I can do a little exploring together.
Ooh, I would be very interested in that, as long as you're willing to go ghost hunting.
Doing plenty here.
Okay, well, I mean, I'd be interested.
Any kind of
curling, ooh, this is the most interesting thing I've heard in ages. A hot bounty hunter who will go ghost hunting with me? This is the best day of my life.
Oh no, they're meeting all of her standards.
Consider ghost bounty hunting.
Ghost bounty.
I'm coming for you, Ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
Shut up. So he just kind of the entire time he's been leaning like his elbow up against the seat, and he just kind of takes it down, and he's just I happily would take you through any kind of the haunted house, haunted caverns, whatever you want to go through. I can take care of you pretty easy.
I mean, I could use some muscle.
Oh, I got plenty. So, and he just brings his hand right over to PG friendly or no?
We have a disclaimer before our stream. What do you think?
He brings his hand over to her thigh, and it's just, I'd be happy to do any kind of exploring you'd like.
Both hands on the wheels, please.
Janelle! Hey! Oh!
Hello! I've been here the whole time!
Yes, you have! I did not notice you get in the car. Thought you were with Kit and Mason.
No,
How are you doing, Janelle?
I'm having a pretty good time, I am.
Glad to hear it. I am so sorry.
Oh, no need to apologize.
What is there to apologize for?
Right. There's nothing to apologize here for.
Pretty lady in a car, not doing anything weird. Pretty lady talking to a pretty man. Just how it goes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty. Well, now that I know that there are two people in the car, this is a great time for me to tell you guys about my mole man theories.
So cutting to the car with Kit and everyone else in it. Well, Kit and Mason, I should say. Yes. What's going on in the car with Kit and Mason?
I feel like Kit's been coaching Mason through how to read a roadmap. Since they're navigating, Kit's never driven through the Midwest before. We probably picked up a roadmap, before we left, since that's the smart thing to do. So that's something Kit would do. And just, I mean, if you need a pencil, you could probably reach into the back seat. I have one in my bag that might make it easier.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a pencil. I can't track where we are. How do you?
I think
do
the
people read
flashlight's
these?
back there too.
Okay. What the? There's so much shit in this car.
Careful! Don't cut yourself.
I make no pro. Just kidding. And he. Do I find a flashlight in the back?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, yeah, probably.
I still have the flashlight from the sheriff's.
You do. Yeah.
So
This is true.
think of it like a maze. You have your origin, you have your destination. You just sort of connect the dots. Do you have any sort of experience with driving? Kit like glances up in the rearview mirror to make sure that the second car is still following them.
To be completely honest with you, no. I went into, I guess, a different business before I could start driving. So, yeah, and Mason puts the flashlight in his mouth, holding the map on one side and then with his pencil on the other. So, how do you know where you are?
Generally, you wait for signs. Sometimes they're not all that reliable the farther you get out into the country, but you can do your best with what you have. Just watch the side of the road till you see a mile marker or a sign or anything else. And generally, we've been going, a fairly straight shot since Albuquerque. So just from Albuquerque, look up, and then try and match whatever you see to whatever's on the map, and hopefully it's a up-to-date map.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and Mason is going to be keeping an eye on signs as they're passing by the road, but also keeping his eye on the map. So, who did you end up calling when we were there with the police? Or did you call somebody?
No, I didn't call anyone. If things went badly, I probably would have. It sort of like considers. I probably would have called my father. He's on the force back in New York City, so he might have been able to do something, but it's been a while since we've talked.
Why's that?
Just my mother and my sister, we moved down to Boston, and my father stayed up in New York. It's been a while. We haven't really spoken much since I went to school and went off to Europe.
Well, maybe when all this is done, you can pay them a visit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, Mason, you live in New York, right? You've mentioned that.
Yeah, over around Manhattan.
Are you gonna be... You mentioned you didn't have a bank account, no nothing. Are you gonna be alright?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm thinking about it.
Will you, would you want some help getting that sort of thing set up?
Mason thinks for a minute. Yeah. Do you happen to know where there are any good long-term living spaces are wherever you are?
Wherever I am, as in...
Yeah, in that area. You don't live in Manhattan, do you?
No, I grew up around there, but I've been living in Boston. Well, I've been traveling mostly. I haven't been back to... I live all over.
Okay.
But I could probably help find some place in Manhattan and New York help you get a bank account set up, and
I'd really appreciate that. I've had a couple of new ideas, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do them just yet. But oh, that's a sign. Okay. And Mason goes and he scans the fucking paper, writes down. Oh shit! How many more miles do we have?
So I've been informed, as we will now. Oh, Alice, you want to say something?
really quickly, one last thing.
Yes, please.
As Mason scans the map for the sign,
Yes.
it's just gonna eyes out on the road. I'm sorry, Mason. I'm sorry I hit you.
I was doing something stupid, wasn't I?
Yes, but that's not the kind of. It's not the kind of person I ever wanted to be. So I'm sorry.
Kit, forgive me if this is a pressing question, but you were an officer, right?
First lieutenant. How many miles do we have left to go, Mason?
Yeah. And how much time? We've only been at this for a couple of hours, yeah.
Yes, and cutting away from this for now. I have been informed that on the first break you all take, Sunil gets out of James and Sybil's car and joins Kit and Mason.
Lovely time. I'll talk to you more about it later.
Yeah, on that first break, he's just like, after everyone's kind of cleared, he would pull Sunil aside. He's just like, Sunil, buddy, pal, friend, so sorry for all that. Just do me a favor, right? When we go back out, get in the other car.
Don't hurt her.
I will do my best.
God, Sunil's on that fucking king ship, bro. Get your fucking crown, Sunil.
Sunil is very particular about women. I'm sorry.
You're chugging his respect women juice.
just taking that shit. Just. Not done.
Chat. Jordan is chugging from his water bottle.
Yes.
Fucking. Oh, just not done yet. Oh. I'm Sunil Pandey and I respect women.
Okay, sorry.
So
Kansas.
Kansas, yes. The drive aside, eventually, you all end up in the small mining town of Lyons, Kansas. Almost like an inverse of Madrid. If Madrid is like, you know, the ideal standard of a mining town where, like, you know, all its workers are looked after, relatively speaking, and there's a lot of industry set up to help them, Lyons is the opposite. It is very much a place where it's just like the companies are so like oppressive on their workers, but you all find yourselves outside in the dark of night, pulling up on the outskirts of the fenced off perimeter of the Coronado Mining Company. I think you are all smart enough to have not attempted to go up to the main gates. You got there, you pulled off in an area that was discreetly away from anything, but you can see that there are, like, security guards that, like, wander the grounds at this hour with, like, dogs, and such like. There are a couple of spotlights in the open yards. Essentially, the salt mine facility itself is a large administrative building built next to a much larger processing plant, and the mines are all beneath that. So, I'd say that you all park your cars out in like the dark, pulled off the road along the fence line, and get out of your cars to confer with one another about what it is you want to do here.
Do the fence have any barbed wire?
Yeah, they do.
Fuck. Never mind. It's like, we either go above or we're going under.
Actually, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take off my jacket and throw it over the barbed wire and climb over.
Is everyone doing that? Is everyone going to climb over the fence into the yard?
Let me look at my climb check.
No, it's not a climb. This is not going to be a climb thing. Yes, like good. Yes, admire the technique, sir. One soldier to another. This is not a climb check based thing. It's actually it's easy to climb a chain link fence, honestly speaking, when you're not being chased by something.
Okay.
If you were like climbing, like if I had like a climb check would come into play if it's like you need to climb up to the second floor of a building. You know, a regular climb check to climb up there without like falling and hurting yourself. Hard success if it's raining, you know, because everything's slick. Because this is a chain link fence, it's easy to climb a chain link fence. I'm not going to have a check. However, anyone who wants to cross the yard to get to the plant will need to make a stealth roll. If everyone is planning to do this, we will call a group stealth roll. I would like to remind you that group rolls work by everyone rolls individually, and whoever has the worst roll of the group dictates the group's success.
Right.
I want to talk about this because I
Yeah.
kind of.
I've got a 45 in stealth.
Oh, I mean, good for
You
you.
have points in stealth?
Well, what exactly are we looking to accomplish right now without any sort of intelligence as to what awaits us on the other side?
Exactly.
Thank you.
I was just told, oh, there's a limitation. I know how to fix that.
I've also been driving for 10 hours straight.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to drive.
No. Whatever. So,
Eventually.
do we want to try and go in now? Do we think that's the call?
We could work our way around, see if there's any other ways to get in.
Was
Say
there like
there's
a guardhouse at the front gate? Sorry.
Yes, there is like the guardhouse and like little like gated area that leads off into the actual mine itself.
Well, how specifically, how many days has it passed since? Well, Sal basically abandoned us as soon as the beacon went off, right? And
Yeah.
he fucked off.
Yeah.
So it's been what, 3-ish days since then?
No, like this
Yeah.
would be the day. It's been like two. It's two almost 3 days since the beacon went off. Yeah, because it was like the first night. No, we are just now approaching the 2-day mark from when the beacon went off. Because the beacon would have went off like late night, the night, and then you woke up in the middle of the desert that like early, like 3 a.m. or something like that.
Okay.
That entire day for the last 2 sessions was one session, or like for 3. I know it's been one day, and you would have gone to the bank this morning before wrapping up the rest of the things, leaving Santa Fe today, arriving here in Lyons tonight currently. So it's yeah.
Thank you for clarifying, because it's been
Yeah, no.
it's been dense.
If Sal left Santa Fe and came here, which is what you're all pretty certain he did, he would have arrived here last night.
Okay. So we know that he wants Jackson to witness whatever's going on here, but we have no guarantee as to where Sal is, as to whether he expected us to come here, whether we'll be able to get in or not. Do you think it's worth going in? And on the other hand, I'm sure a lot of people in Lyons are in Sal's pocket. If he was smart, he would have told people to look out for us.
You got a point?
So do you think we should just wait? I mean, it doesn't really seem like he wants to kill Jackson or anything like that. He
point.
just wants him to see.
My point is to get everyone to think before we charge in.
Sorry. I forgot to mention something that was super important. With that, he didn't give too much. He wouldn't have given too many details about the specifics of what. But Sal, in that when Lester was running out in the middle of the desert at gunpoint with Jackson, would have revealed that they're on the crux of something a couple of days away. In that it seems like, actually serendipitously, tonight is actually they're attempting to do something down in the mines below regarding their research. So,
Cool, that changes literally everything.
Sorry about that.
Literally
Yes, I was gonna say,
everything.
it's like I totally forgot to mention that. No, you don't have the specifics of what he's doing yet. However, yes, he would have mentioned that it was going down like tonight. Before.
So just rewinding all of that for a second. Kit, what are you thinking?
If it's happening tonight, Sal's probably going to be busy. He's probably going to be leading the charge, and Jackson right there. We should be able to get in without too many issues, but we should try to stay unseen for as long as possible.
I will say, because it is the dark of night, and even though there are like some spotlights in the yard behind the fence. It's not like there's like a extremely intensive like scan the area, keep searching. It's like a usual guard detail, a lot of guards that rotate the yard, and spotlights that like occasionally sweep over just to keep things illuminated. You would still have a bonus die on a stealth check to cross the yard to successfully make it into the buildings to this attempt. But remember, it is dangerous. And also,
That doesn't just mean walking in. That also means Kit sort of like makes a little, gun sign with his hand. That means we don't shoot unless it's absolutely necessary. And he scans everyone. How many of you feel capable enough to dispatch people without using a firearm?
Had to do it a lot.
I've had more luck with these than I have with this. And Mason shakes his gun and puts it
Do
back.
not shake your put it.
He didn't have his hand on the trigger. He just had it. I was better at this than I was with this. Puts it back. Don't make it a bigger thing.
Out of character, I'm dying. Back in character, Kit sort of nods. All right, that's should be. I think we should have that covered if we can move swiftly and silently, avoid firing unless under complete duress. Yeah.
Understood.
Right.
Understood.
All right, move out.
you guys attempting to cross the yard? Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
We about a sneaky deaky?
All right, so here's the deal. This is going to be hard, but I need everyone to roll stealth with a bonus die. And yeah, this is not.
So are we doing individual stealth checks, or is
Everyone
does it
rolls.
have to
Yes,
be a
group
check?
checks. Everyone rolls individually. Right. Kit makes a hard
All right.
success.
I'm gonna fuck this up.
Yep. Don't forget you can all roll bonus die. Yep.
Please roll your bonus die, please.
Oh, bitch!
Damn.
So that makes Mason's roll a 2.
That's
makes-
hot.
That means Kit succeeds. Mason succeeds. Sybil does not succeed. Hold on.
I haven't rolled yet.
Okay, roll please, Sunil. Roll. You got a bonus die. Don't forget that. Always roll
I'm
lower.
rolling it. Roll number of dice is 1. Yeah.
Ooh, James and Sybil failed.
Did it go through? Oh, bonus or penalty? It's a bonus. Ha! Didn't work. Didn't matter because the other 2 failed.
Yes. So here's how I'm going to narrate this. Yeah, the way that group checks work is multiple people roll, and the worst result is the determining factor. Unlike, I know it's the game is geared against you, unfortunately.
Fuck.
How bad did Sybil fail? Oh, she failed real bad. Okay.
She failed real bad.
I was gonna say it's like we should probably
In
lock it.
crossing,
Nope.
in crossing the yard, you get caught by a spotlight, and a number of guards and barking dogs begin to converge on your location. You have the option here of choosing to surrender, and that's not necessarily going to be the end of your attempts here, because it looks like if you surrender, they'll probably bring you inside the place for further questioning, or you can choose to try to run, or you can choose to try to fight. What do you guys want to do?
Are the guards armed?
The guards are armed.
We gotta
How
surrender.
armed are we talking?
They all carry with them rifles.
Oh shit. Okay.
They are no, like I'd say that James and Kit, you two are soldiers. You know that a number of soldiers after the war, James, you went to the bounty hunting business. A lot of soldiers went into like private security. And so this is a very well-paid, well-armed security staff. They're not carrying submachine guns, but they're carrying with them like military-grade equipment. Like Sal's paid top dollar for security.
And they all know how to use them.
We'd all have to surrender.
I'd like
Yeah.
to say that if we surrender, we actually have possibility of information, so it's not like the worst thing possible.
Yeah, agreed. I vote
Hands
for
go right
the
fuck
surrender.
up. Hands go right the fuck up.
Oh shit.
Well.
Yeah, Mason's hands go up.
All
He
right.
didn't even say anything extra. Just
You all find yourselves seized by the security detail of the Coronado Mining Company and brought inside the administrative building where the five of you are stripped of your gear, of your weapons, which are not like, thrown away. They keep them like in like you see very much like whereas they're like stripping you down, they bring you into a side room of the administrative building, like an empty office room with a locked door. The windows are drawn, and they leave you with an armed security guard who stands there with a gun, not fully trained on you, but at the ready in case any of you try anything. And you are ordered to stay right where the fuck you are until they can question you about why you're trespassing. So you're all left sitting there. Now, I'm going to inform you specifically what happens next. Okay? We're all on the same page with that?
Sure.
I'm going to tell you exactly what happens next. I think it's reasonable to assume that during all of this, you would be all like trying to like whisper and like figure out like how do we break out of this, like where's the right opportunity, everything and all that. I'm correct so far in my assessment?
Yes.
Probably.
yeah.
Cool. That the door that the security guard who's watching you creaks open behind him very slowly as you guys are talking. You briefly notice this, very, very quietly the door creaks open. And then in a quick flash, you watch as a hand holding a gun swings down and claps the guard on the back of the head, and the guard collapses to a heap. You see standing there is Jackson
Swear to God, if
Elias.
it's Peter. Oh my God. Yeah! I swear to God, dude, if that was Peter Haas, I was about to lose my
No,
fucking
it's not
shit
Peter.
on
It's
you.
not Peter. It's not Peter. No. You see standing there, Jackson Elias cracks the gun down on the guard's head, like watches him fall, then looks up and goes, "Oh, hey everyone. I thought you all died. How have you been?"
Son of a bitch, you're alive!
Damn.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Jackson,
right.
like, yeah, no, Jackson chuckles. If anyone runs to hug him, he hugs him back, but like goes, we got to keep it down. Sorry, Kit, what did you say?
We were coming here for you.
Well,
Thanks.
it just so happens I serendipitously decided that tonight was the night I was going to break out, and I found out that someone got seized in the yard, and I figured, well, I think I know 5 people who that probably is.
Yeah.
Well, great.
Like we're just gonna let you get kidnapped.
You came to save my life, and I just saved yours, so I think that means you owe me.
No, that means we're even. Now let's go.
Well,
we got 2 cars. Come on.
Oh, we're not getting out of here quite yet. No.
Ah,
Listen, I don't know where you guys have been. I'm glad you're here. I honestly am. Good to see you. Sunil, your hair's different. What's up with that?
A lot of things happened. We're kind of on the ball right now.
No.
Get to it.
Doctor's right. Let's go. Come on.
We can't leave just yet. No. I now that we're all here together, this is good. I don't know what this Sal Suarez is exactly trying to do, but it sounds dangerous. I think I know where his office is. I was planning on sneaking up there, seeing if I can find any interesting documents that detail what he has been up to. I want to get a look at those, because if we're going to be able to expose him in any sort of way, that's a ticket. I want to sneak up to his office and find out what he has been up to exactly.
Well,
All right.
You were saying something about contacting people in like an underground kingdom. Apparently, that
He's
they
been
still
talking
exist and
about,
that-
yes, no, that's, since I woke up in a drug-fueled haze. I mean, listen, I've spent some time in Chinese opium dens, and I'm no stranger to a good time, but this was a little more than I'm comfortable with. Listen, I woke up, he explained what he could, but it was very evident that I was some sort of prisoner for him. And he wanted me to witness something crazy. It's a lot. And in normal circumstances, I wouldn't have believed a damn word of it if it hadn't been for what we experienced in Peru. I don't know what he's up to, but he's hell-bent on contacting some sort of underground civilization that is, I don't know. I'm lost in the details, but I'm trying to find that out myself. To at least get a grasp on it before I get the hell out of here.
I would also like to know the things.
Oh fuck. Okay.
All right.
Well, if we can expose him, all the better.
Well, first
Yeah.
How
things
did
first,
you-
we need our gear.
Yeah.
And how did you get out?
So here's the fun thing. Mr. Suarez is a radical fan of mine. He is definitely the kind you do not want to sign a book for. And he's been keeping me under lock and key, but not so much as the fact that your good old friend Jackson Elias couldn't figure out how to break out of it. This is not the first, well, I mean, as they say, this is not my first rodeo. I research
Stalkers.
death cults for a living, kids. I'm used to this danger. All right, so how about we get a move on and find out what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sybil's
I
just
guess we're doing it.
completely like, never mind that I fucked this up the first time. I'm for this.
They're doing something down in the salt mines tonight. The guard detail in the building itself a little low. We move quick. We might not have to worry about a single person finding us quite yet. All right? Good. Let's get your gear. Let's get you armed, and let's get a move on.
The look on Mason's face right now, I can't quite explain the look of it, but it more sounds like, man,
Fucking Damon just like pats his back.
It's the Keenan and Kel. Oh man.
Oh!
Goddamn.
I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Reunited with your friend Jackson Elias, who is more than capable by himself, but together the six of you are a powerhouse. Move swiftly through the administrative building of the Coronado Mining Company to where you find Salvador Suarez's personal office, which is empty. Most of the building is in fact empty. Sal's office, you access it through like a secretary's, site like office. The inside is filled with conquistador memorabilia. There's like a landscape painting of a Spanish galleon landing on a South American beach. There's there's actually some like trophies that like hang around here as well. You see like pictures of what's up, Alice?
Are there any pictures of de Mendoza?
There are no pictures of De Mendoza here.
Fuck. Oh,
No,
that'd be
there
so
doesn't
cool.
there doesn't seem to be an actual like direct link between Sal and what you encountered in Peru. It just seems to be a coincidence. However,
Even if he was a fanboy, that would have been some fucked shit.
right?
That'd be some scary fucking shit if Damon Mendoza was
What you do
there.
see though, is there's a picture of like a group of like men that is labeled the Sociedad de Esgrima de Barcelona 1913, or as Sybil, as you can read Spanish, the Society of Fencing of Barcelona. It seems like Sal was part of some sort of like fencing group in like in the 1913s. Won a few trophies for fencing. And there's also various pictures hung around the office depicting Sal shaking hands with politicians and businessmen. You see him like shaking the hand of Ford, Ford himself, from like a few years back. Yeah, Henry Ford from a few years back. Yeah. There is a copy of Witch Cults of England, one of Jackson's book, lying on the desk. This is the one that Sal had Jackson sign, Blood and Kisses. There are also a lot of... You want to tear that page out? Yeah, and Jackson says...
No, yeah, can ask Jackson if he wants to tear that page out.
If he... I'm not going to mince words here, Dr. Sullivan. If we bring Mr. Suarez down, I want him to have a memory of his old friend Jackson Elias. There's also various blueprints throughout the office that depict what look to be, to a layman, some sort of extremely complicated large radio transmitter. That seems to be specifically designed for underground use. Anything more than that, I'm going to need a successful idea roll, which is an intelligence check. If anyone wants to try, see if they can glean deeper meaning. Yeah.
I'll try. I'm educated.
I too am educated.
No fucking clue.
Boom.
Yo!
Whoa!
You know what? Not even gonna roll. Just
Listen.
take it.
I got a fail and a crit
Fuck, bro.
success. It works.
Where the fuck is my idea check?
It's an intelligence
It's
check.
an intelligence check.
I'm stupid. All right.
Should I
well,
bother rolling? I'm not even gonna bother rolling.
I want to do it just cause.
You know what?
Oh baby.
I'll do it.
We
too.
all just see these complicated blueprints. Yes, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's
Of
going
course,
on.
the actual researcher has no idea what's going on.
Wait, but can I change this for a mathematics?
No!
Ooh! Hold
Yes,
on!
yes.
Actually, mathematics check is yes. You can actually use a mathematics check for this.
Oh!
So hold on, real quick. I will say that from an intelligence thing of like being able to like look at it and like discern its meaning, so you're kind of a little lost in it, but you can resort to looking at it from a sheerly engineering mathematical perspective to see what the numbers mean versus what the actual idea on the page means. So go ahead and give me a mathematics check.
My mathematics is lower than my fucking.
But you've been wanting to make a mathematics check the entire
I wanted
campaign.
to make a mathematics check the entire time. Let's go.
Just do it. Just do it. Let's do this.
Yeah!
This man is a
Everyone at the table
genius.
knows what's going on.
Yeah!
Good day for rolls.
Alexander, I want to make a mathematics check.
I love
All
that.
of our good rolls have been used right now.
Shut
the
up.
RNG gods are like, yes, we've really given them this, huh? And then the other one's like, yes, let's kill one of them in 10 minutes.
Well, yeah. Fucking-
This is what tabletop games are made for. These checks, these moments. This is great. So, okay.
RNG God, like,
Let
watch
me-
this. I'm gonna make them all roll well
Tell me
this one time.
Yes. Let me tell everybody except Sybil about the thing.
Kristen Geffen.
Sybil surrounded by men who by pretty guys who are going to tell her what's happening.
Exactly.
Exactly. Why would she do the hard thinky work when she has so many cute men who can do it for her?
Exactly.
So, I'm gonna start with everyone. This is for everyone. Sunil, you're gonna get some more information from a mathematics standpoint. This is a specifically designed like radio transmitting relay device built for the purpose of sending extremely powerful like radio signals miles beneath the surface of the earth in places where radio signals usually cut out. This is a complex relay device that it seems like has been in development for a very long time, that it is for the sake of sending signals a vast distance down into the earth. Sunil, the mathematical equations you see presented on the schema for these machines gives you two very important conclusions. One, the science here completely checks out. This is something that that based on how they've structured it can actually feasibly function. Like there's not any huge gaping issues in the machinery. This has probably been in development for years. This is a very this checks out. Interestingly enough, what both groups get though is that there's also something this is something to incorporate mysterious technology similar to what the entity calling itself Lester Goodman showed with the Kenyan beacon, which was that similar kind of like a crystal like artifact is being used for the sake of this experimental device. Neil, the second conclusion you come to is not only will this thing completely function, they have finished all of the mathematics that would be required for the specifics to build this thing, and based on the numbers, figures, and other bits of information that are in this document, you factor that this has already been built.
They've already built this. It's here. And it works.
God, imagine if Sunil just Thomas Edison's this bitch and just takes everything back with him to the college.
Sunil steals the blueprints and...
You could. You totally
Absolutely.
could. And by the
James
way,
will help. Anything that's valuable.
Sunil, gotta scroll down again. Sorry about it. Rolled an extreme success. You know what I'm gonna give you on an extreme success, Sunil?
What?
You know how to sabotage this thing.
All that going into mathematics, it was worth it.
Oh, I
All
love
the
it.
points in the mathematics, boys!
Sunil is king.
Does Kit seem to gather anything from his critical success?
From his critical success on his yes.
Yeah, because he rolled a 1.
He rolled a 1.
That's-
Actually, yeah. So this actually goes hand in hand with Sunil and Kelsey. So, Sunil, you know roughly how to actually make this thing, to sabotage this thing, to make it, kind of backfire. Kit, what you get from an with a critical success, you know exactly, you follow like the information on the blueprints that are surrounding you. You know exactly where in the mines beneath the facility that this device is located. You know what its power source is like housed in. It's all in kind of like one central, according to the schema of the mines. There's a central chamber where a vast pit has been dug for the sake of expeditions into this supposed underground world that Sal has actually discovered and has been keeping on the down low, and sending men into to bring back artifacts. You know where that you can find that, and more importantly, there's something on a critical success of an idea check that you get that if you guys decide to do anything with this knowledge here and now while Sal is downstairs, something might happen. I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but you think that something interesting might happen that you might want to see, but you're not sure. So I'll leave you with on a critical success.
Yeah, I'll relay the entirety of that to everyone.
Information is relayed.
Let's fuck it up.
What are we waiting for? Let's do this.
Fuck it up.
Are we suggesting going down into the mines and ruining the Spaniards' day?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Absolutely.
How
Are you
did I-
saying you would want to?
How did I get on with you not in my life for 2 days?
Before we leave, is there anything like expensive?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What's up?
Hold on, before we do that, Sunil pockets the blueprints. I actually
Yeah.
thought about that.
No, Sal keeps his office decorated with like actual like collectible stuff, like conquistador helmets, a conquistador sword mounted up on the wall, stuff like
I'm
that.
taking that sword. I'm taking the sword.
Yeah, no.
Be careful about using it though. You'd actually need points in using a sword.
The painting's very big, so you probably couldn't. It's a very beautiful painting, but you probably couldn't take that because it's very cumbersome, unless you wanted to.
How about
Oh,
since we can't take the painting, how about we fuck it up instead?
actually, no, I was gonna say, you could actually choose. You could actually choose to. Sorry, I forgot that that's how paintings work. You could also choose to cut the canvas out of the frame and then like roll up the painting to take that. So you could
Oh,
feasibly,
fuck yeah.
do that.
Oh,
Takes
here,
out
help
the
me-
sword.
help me take it- Well, first, help me take it down, you fucking brute! Jesus.
All right, fucking Christ.
Time for this?
Yes.
Oh, we've got time. They pop
The lights of the facility like like flicker. Sunil and Kit, you guys would explicitly know that this is because the power source of the relay is actually directly to the generators that power the actual facility itself. That's why the mine seems to be closed down right now, is because they're doing some tests down below. And if the lights are flickering, this probably means they're in the process of booting this thing up slowly.
We may not have time.
Okay,
Okay.
let's just pops the frame off. Roll.
Yep.
Let's go.
So congratulations, in your haste, you grabbed a painting, a conquistador helmet, and a conquistador sword.
Maybe Mason will be wearing that shit right now.
He's
fucking
wearing the helmet.
He's wearing the Conquistador helmet. Hold on, wait. Let me look at Conquistador helmet's the one where like it has like that weird fin at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a
oh,
pointed
he's
thing.
so. Oh, he copped that shit. He's fucking wearing it.
I'm gonna call that
going
I'll double check, but I'm gonna call that a point of armor. That means any damage you take would be like lessened by 1.
Oh God.
Bitch.
I don't want to like rules lawyer you
Yeah.
or anything, but like
Please do.
like a World War I helmet is 2 points of armor, and that's basically made of steel. So
to be fair though, this is older than that.
okay, just wanted to
Yeah,
wanted to-
no, totally. It's definitely a conquistador's hat. But to be fair, World War helmets were designed for like also gunfire as well. They probably couldn't take multiple gunshots, but a soldier's helmet can take at least a shot. A conquistador is made out of like iron. It is probably, and it's really old, so it's decently maintained. I'm gonna call that a point of armor, just for the sake of
Okay,
it.
cool.
Hit that thing hard enough. and
Yeah.
I'll fucking take it, dude.
So if anything, that 1 point could save the
because you.
Anyone tries to shoot arrows at you, you're
well,
good.
no, because
I'm
so
solid.
I'm just gonna say this right now. You might not need that point of armor because now that you actually know how to destroy, like disable and like sabotage this device, which was such a minuscule chance of a thing you guys being able to figure out. Thanks, mathematics and critical success kit.
God, I
critic-
fucking love mathematics checks.
Critical kit.
Critical kit.
Critic and
let's
yeah,
fuck it up.
so we'll see. This I'm gonna come out and say it, this drastically changes the finale I had planned, so
Yeah.
okay, hell yeah.
I can't believe
We're flying on the train, baby.
So we're gonna
flying on the
sabotage it,
train.
right?
What's happening?
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask the group this. In deciding to sabotage all of Sal's shit, not gonna mince words. Do you want to do so in a way? So here's the thing, though. This would normally be there would be a check for manipulating, the device and all that, but because we got a critical success and an extreme mathematics success, it's not like I have to work with what wires I need to cut. This is, I've studied the blueprints. I know exactly what we need to do, so you can just point out, do this, do this, do that, without having to make a check for it. So in sabotaging the device, I'm going to present, this is for Kit and Sunil, I'm going to present you two with some options for sabotage. Let me know what it is you want to do most. Do you want to A, make the device not function at all? Render it useless and have it fail, which will probably, cause some confusion and allow you to slip out unnoticed. Do you want to B, cause it to backfire in a way that it'll probably short circuit, probably cause some damage, maybe explode, we don't know, who knows? Or would you like to make sure it still functions, but in sabotaging it, you fuck with its frequency and maybe mess with who's on the receiving end of this message?
Kit, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm between two options. One, if we make it useless, it'll take them a while to figure out what's happening and to come out here, and that'll give us time. But if we mess with who they're contacting, it would give us even more time to get out of Dodge. But it would still leave everything functional.
We could also make it explode.
Did someone say explode?
I like
I
explode.
like the sound of that.
How underground would we need to be? Like, how close to the device would we need to be to sabotage it?
To sabotage it, you will have to be in the next room over from where it's mainly being tested, in its powerhouse room. This is something you guys can easily handle amongst the 6 of you. You will be underground. Exploding it might carry the risk, not definitively, might carry the risk of collapsing the mine. Or at least that part of the mine.
I don't want to chance any explosions, not down here. We don't know how necessarily the rest of the mine is laid out.
Well, we set it on a
I'll push
timer.
down my inner chaos for now.
Sunil, what are you leaning towards?
Well, at first I was leaning towards blowing it up because then they could never use it, or at least it would take a while for them to use it again. I'm just trying to be functional here.
You're doing a great job.
If
You're doing
we
great. We're proud of you.
if we stop it, they'll just come back out here and turn it right back on. If we reverse it, do you think it will take even longer for them to?
In terms of reversing who they're
And
contacting.
when you say shut down,
So when I say shut down, so you seem to be talking about 2 options here, so I'm going to go one by one here. Shutting it down in a way that would probably take them, because again, critical success and an extreme success. These get rewarded. Shutting it down in a way that would be confounding enough them that it would probably take them at least an hour to get it back up and running again, leaving you plenty of time to slip out unnoticed while they're trying to fix that. Reversing it is that you could do this in a way that they would have no discernible way of noticing that there's something different happening. It's just you are fundamentally fucking with its nature. They might not notice until it's too late.
Reversing it, Kit?
Consider if we change who that radio signal is going to. Jackson mentioned maybe turning them in, turning Sal in. That way we will have even more evidence, more than what we got from his office.
I will say, here's what I will say, because you rolled an extreme and a critical. This thing is designed specifically for transmitting frequencies downward. You couldn't reverse it to begin sending signals up to the surface, but you could fuck with the way that they've done the math for whatever it is that they seem to have locked on in the earth below to maybe just fuck with that and maybe cause some havoc. So
we wouldn't be able to send it like out.
Yeah,
right.
This machine is specifically designed to send things down, deep into the earth. And again, critical and extreme also say that Sal's been charting some seismic activity recently, and there's something about there. I'd say there are probably some notes about making sure you align the frequency to this area as opposed to this area because of some potential havoc that could cause.
Sunil,
Would you like to
do you see that?
Yes, I do, sir.
You're the mathematician between us both, but I am glad that I picked up on what you saw.
Oh,
Yes.
I very much am glad that you picked up on what I saw. Let's cause havoc, please, Keeper.
So I will ask this. With Sunil and Kit being the two who know what's up, do you all want to go down together, or do you want to call it where it's like, all right, cool, while Sunil and Kit go handily fuck with this thing, since we, like, you know, they've got the lockdown on this, we escape and we wait for them so we can speed out of here? Or do you want to all go down together, or do you want to, like, split up so you're not all, like, localized in one location when things happen?
Kit, do you have a gun?
Oh, I'm so sorry! Kit, your gun was in Sal's office! I totally forgot! Your gun was in his office!
Sorry.
That being said, James is not gonna let them fucking go down there alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's they pack a harder punch if they all travel together. So Mason's standing with them.
I do want to say, when Kit, like, found his rifle, he, like, took a minute and, like, noticed every fucking scratch, every fucking tally mark, every scuff on that thing, and just... It's nice to have it back.
Hell yeah!
Woo!
I
Fuck.
love it. So is everyone going down? Sunil and
I
Sybil,
think
are you
so.
with him? Yeah?
Why are you saying Sunil and Sybil?
Oh wait, Sunil, you're already going down. What am I talking about? My bad.
Nathan
God.
and Sybil.
I meant Mason and Sybil. Yeah, you two are definitely going down. Cool.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Alright.
standing with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna reward the mathematical anomaly that has happened here, and I'm not going to make there be a further challenge check of accomplishing this. You guys can go down into the salt mines beneath the Coronado Mining Company, which, by the way, if you've never seen a salt mine, they're actually quite cool. There are these long, ovular, like, white tunnels that are just carved through the salt blocks. So it's like, there's lots of wires, lighting that all lead towards the centralized location. And using the blueprints you guys had, you would actually be able to feasibly predict and circumvent guard patrols that were going on down below. And the area you need to be to sabotage is... So think of it like this. There are two main power relays for this thing Sal has built. This is going by so quickly, but this is great. The main one is in the room with everything else. You know, it's like the centralized room that they've been using to, like, lower people down in there for exploring and dig sites via an elevator shaft. they have a lot of the gear set up in there. That's where all of the engineers and scientists and members of the staff that Sal has hired are working. There is an auxiliary room which contains essential materials, but does not need to be actively maintained and observed for things to work. That is where you can sabotage things and nobody needs to know. And it also does include a window into the testing site. It's like a little bit like a level above, so it kind of like looks down at the ground in this wide salt dug cavern where there's a pit that just goes down into darkness in it, and a massive the device on the blueprint is built into that chamber on the ceiling, aiming down into the pit. So, Neil and Kit, you two want to fuck some shit up?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
in that room, see Sal is also in there overseeing a lot of things as they're powering things up. Handily, you are able to change how a lot of this works, and for your desired effect. Only an extreme and a critical could have gotten you this result. Only.
Holy fuck.
Only that could have gotten you this. Otherwise, there'd be a check involved and maybe some failure. Who knows?
Praise the mathematics check.
Now, I have one last question for you before we determine what happens next. Do you stay to watch what happens, or do you leave content to put this behind you and out of your mind?
Ooh, actually.
Looks at the rest of
let
the group.
Well, okay, so out of character, the way we're doing it, we're pretty sure that they're not going to be alerted to the anomaly for a while.
Yes.
So out of character, I think that we could probably stay for a few minutes, but that's probably as much as Kit's gonna want to stay. It's just a few minutes, and then we need to get the fuck out.
Mason wants to stay. He wants to watch what happens.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
What's Jackson think?
Jackson says, "I have no idea what's gonna happen, but let's get a little something in there. This is not enough to write a book about, but I'm intrigued."
I mean, he did want you to see this in the first place. Why disappoint him?
Careful what you wish for, Mr. Suarez. Be careful what you wish for. As the relay is activated, as Sal's group begins to test this thing that they've seemingly been working towards, it transmits, and the device is active. No one's clued into anything wrong yet. It takes like a few minutes after the thing is activated. They're leaving it running, surveying the equipment that they have set up down there. And then like a couple of the engineers and scientists begin to go, you can hear them calling up, "Mr. Suarez, we've got a problem." And like Sal walks over, and you can't hear his voice because he's not shouting, but you can kind of briefly make out one of the scientists being, "We've specifically, the frequency of the device has switched the resonant pattern. It's transmitting at..." There is a faint quaking in the ground as a very small earthquake begins to rumble through the mine. It doesn't increase to much more powerful levels than a simple jitter. This is like barely 1 on the Richter scale. It's just kind of, there's a faint rumble that you can detect. But the sound, there is something very large that's coming up the central hole in the mine shaft. You watch as the elevator that's built that go descend down into it, like the metal bars like bend, twist, and in a seamless move, you watch as an entire elevator platform like collapses and falls into the shaft as something is getting louder, like something's coming out of the pit. Do you continue to stay and watch?
Let's go.
It's time
Yeah.
to go.
When
Mason.
Sybil says to go, let's go. Fuck.
Yeah, Sybil doesn't want to see it. Fuck, we
Yeah,
out.
that's a goodbye.
Mason's kind of staring.
Mason?
Mason.
Mason?
Fucking
Mason.
Jen is gonna grab his collar.
We don't know what it is just yet. Hold on. It could be nothing.
The fucking elevator shaft just fell. It's not nothing. Let's go.
Because we fucking and then Mason
Okay,
gets pulled.
gets yanked. The last thing you hear as you guys are running out of the mines is the growing rumble get louder, and then the first thing you hear is what is indistinguishably Sal Suarez screaming for his life. And followed after by the screams of a dozen other scientists. Because of that, roll a sanity check, because it all sounds like they're being massacred all of a sudden.
Oh, fuck!
Is that a thing for...
Did Sybil actually fail us?
Damn. And you can't use luck on sanity rolls.
Can't use luck on sanity rolls.
Fuck, bruh.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Oh,
If you
Damn,
failed...
Sunil, up top.
If you failed, yeah, because you can all hear this echoing up through the shafts, even if you're running away. If you failed, you only take a point of sanity damage. You're only a point down. It's just a shiver down your spine as you hear a dozen deathly screams ringing out through the tunnels, and what sounds like a collapse beginning to happen towards the area you're running from. What's up? What's up, Split?
Hey.
What was the number for indefinite insanity?
What is hold on, I had to scroll through.
I'm at 41 right now.
You've rested since
You've rested since then. Yeah, it's only if you take more than a fifth in a single day.
Okay.
And we counted the encounter with Bill and the dreaming as quote resting. So
Okay.
I'm going to cut us 2 days into the future, if you all don't mind. After successfully escaping the Coronado Mining Company, before you would have witnessed anything that happened, I'd say that Jackson and everybody else holed up in like a small motel, just a place to kind of like lay your head down, recoup, and just kind of breathe in what the fuck happened over the last couple days, and the last week indeed. It comes into the papers the day after you guys escaped the Coronado Mining Company that there was a collapse in the mines that luckily did not take the lives of any of the mine's workers, but however, the mine's proprietor, Salvador Suarez, and some of the administrative staff of the Coronado Mining Company were doing some kind of, geological survey down there at the time. That's why they closed the mines. During the collapse that had happened, a rescue attempt is being mounted, but they are presumed dead, and a large chunk of the Coronado Mining Company is buried now from the collapse. And the local papers predict that the American Salt Mining Corporation will now probably take prominence in the area, while the Coronado Mining Company will have to be closed down, and there should be a local, boon to the company as it receives an influx of workers who are now out of employ. You're not sure what it was that happened to Sal Suarez and his men in the mine down there. And you know what? You're content not knowing that little bit. You're happy to, whatever happened to them, that's their problem. Sal Suarez wanted to communicate with an underworld. Maybe he got his wish in the end. But as things kind of calm down, and a little bit of normalcy returns, the next opportunity you all get, Jackson happily offers to pay for everyone's cheap seats on a train bound for Chicago, and then onto the rest of the country. Not as, fancy as the California Limited, but is at the very least, since you seem to be at a balance, he's happy to pay you all your train tickets so you can at least owe him again.
Mason actually refuses and uses his money to get everyone nice, comfortable seats back home. Cause, fuck.
Yeah. And I'd say that when you guys are on that train, all of you kind of consolidate in the same area. Jackson is kind of like going through his notes, in his writing, kind of by himself. He just says, my friends, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what happened. Up until about a month ago, I was content in the belief that the world acted by its nature, darkness and evil was only as deep as the cruelty of man, and that the unnatural was simply that which cannot yet be explained, and I'm content to let the possibility... Vampires, he gestures over at Sybil, is one thing. Vampires and Peruvian conquistador death cult is another. And, some sort of secret Atlantean underworld where things lurk that we should not see. I'm content to let some mysteries let slide in the world, even if there are others I'd like to bring into the light. So I think, I'm better off not knowing if Sal Suarez was right. And
The bank, did I get my mask?
yes. I'd say that in like the couple days before you guys left, a couple people drove back to Santa Fe, grabbed that and reconvened, and just had that established.
Fucking whew. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this little trip of ours has, I think, shaped my entire worldview. So yeah.
So Neil, you're once you get to Chicago, what do you got in mind?
I might stiff him for a few days before I...
Oh.
So Neil, I like what you've done with your hair, by the way, and it completes the look.
Sunil lifts his hat, pats the whiteness on it, and then he's just like, it's a little becoming, and then he puts it back down.
Have you ever considered growing a mustache?
No, never.
I understand.
Yeah, I gotta say, that little strip of yours, it does make you look older.
It does. Adds a few years.
Finally.
It gives you... Now you look possibly 19.
Oh my goodness, I'm an adult!
Janelle, you're old. Well, never mind. I was gonna say you're old enough to drink.
So, and Jackson kind of turns over to James and says, so James, Mr. O'Connell,
Yes, sir.
before everything happened, you were just going to Albuquerque to take care of that bounty job, and then you got wrapped up in all of my business, which I apologize for, but at least you'll have a few stories for the grandkids one day. What's next on the docket?
I'm really not all too sure.
You ever been to New York?
Once or twice.
Well, I figure that's where everyone except for Sunil here are on the way towards. I'll only be there for a little bit before, gotta check with my publisher, gotta write a manuscript before I, take some time off to myself and then hit the road once again. I like to keep myself active and around, but, at least whenever I'm in the neighborhood, if you want to pop over in New York, I'd be happy to buy you a drink sometime from a speakeasy of choice.
All right.
Because if there's one thing we've learned out here in the American Southwest on our adventures, prohibition is bullshit.
Oh,
Prohibition is bullshit.
By far.
Oh, speaking of money things, hey, James, do you want this painting by chance? This will probably sell for a lot of money.
I'll
mean,
take
like,
that, actually.
I've already got a lot already, and I also have this. He taps his
You bastard.
Fuck you, Jordan.
Have the sword.
I mean, like, I got this. I wasn't really gonna sell this. I was gonna probably put it up on some mantle back of the house.
That would be a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
I
No,
also
it-
have a souvenir. Holds up Steve the Coyote skull.
Jackson laughs with great delight.
Why do you still
I'm
have
glad-
that?
Because it's her friend.
Friend. James gets it.
What I will say is when eventually the train arrives in Chicago, and there is a parting of ways between Mr. Sunil Pandey and the rest of the group, as everyone else sees you off the train, Sunil, any last words to these new acquaintances you've made in strangeness?
It was nice to meet you all. Thank you so much. It's been the train ride of a lifetime. It has. And he gives everybody hugs and pats. It's just before he I'll I'll keep in touch. I'll try to keep in touch as much as I can.
What did we write
Actually,
to you?
fucking
Edward.
James like pats himself down, looks for any kind of like cards or anything that he can give to get in contact with him. And he's gonna hand
Sybil
that to
immediately
Sunil.
just pulls cards out of where the fuck did she have these? Here is my number. Hands it out. Do you want to write
Yeah.
yours on this one? We can just hand it together.
I don't have a number.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You can call me. He'll be there.
Oh my god.
I guess.
So Neil
I'll
like
be
looks
there.
between the two of them. He's just like, I see. And it's
not
like,
targeted.
Kit, you know what? Since this is a parting, I'm going to make an appropriate parting. Kit,
Sunil.
I hope to be as good a doctor as you one day.
Kit sort of like gives Sunil like what one would describe as an inscrutable look. Just a sort of mixture of trying to read what Sunil is saying and also hide what Kit is thinking, and then just sort of nods curtly. I hope that the next time we meet, it's under better circumstances.
The feeling is mutual. He looks to James. I couldn't have asked for a better roommate. You know what? He looks at Mason. Stay strong. You'll
Now you're
shoot.
just getting. Okay, excuse me for a minute. Hold it.
I can't
Not
even
today.
hold the gun. You're doing better than me.
This is not my hill to die on. Go ahead.
That reminds me, if we ever meet again, I have to teach you how to fucking shoot a gun.
Please. You'll see me sometime soon. I
I was
talked to
talking
Sybil.
to Sunil, but if you want to learn, I'm apparently going with you all. So
The conductor calls out, "All aboard! All aboard!" as this train begins to get ready to pull out.
Almost time.
Sybil, there are mysteries everywhere. I dare you to solve as many of them as possible. God damn it!
Oh, I have every intent. Here, give me another hug. Oh, hang on. I always wanted to do this. Sybil grabs Sunil's hat and then throws it off of the train. Oh wow, that went hard.
why would you?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
As the
Sunil
train
runs
begins to
and
pull
he waves
away.
his hat
Bye,
while the
Sunil,
train
love
is going
you.
Yeah,
away.
he
waves
does
his
like the
at
hat wave as he like runs, picks it up, and like dusts it off, and like
Bye.
waves at the train as you all wave back at your at Sunil Pandey as he slowly disappears and the Chicago skyline vanishes. Over the rest of the train journey, eventually it comes to stop in Grand Central, New York, where a final parting of the ways between the parties at play here. Everyone standing in Grand Central, surrounded by all sorts of activity, people going to new places. Jackson pops, is standing there smoking his pipe and says, "My friends," shakes every one of your hands. "It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you all. Kit, Mason, Sybil, I couldn't have asked for a better investigative team out there in Peru. And if I'm ever dropping by for an extended period of time, I'd love to catch up. But if you don't see me for a while, keep in touch. I'd love to maintain a correspondence with each and every one of you. Mr. O'Connell," he shakes your hand. Hopefully things didn't get too troublesome out there for you, and you can hopefully move on and figure something out for yourself."
I think I'll be fine. If you ever need anything, I guess call Sybil.
I will keep that in mind. He gives you and Sybil a very pointed look, looks at you, James, and gives you a dashing wink. Before he takes a large puff from his pipe, grins at you, and walks off and disappears into the crowd. As you are all watching Jackson Elias walk away from your lives right now, there are two very important things you realize right now. One, Jackson Elias is the wind. It is within his nature to move from place to place, and just because it is unlikely you will see him for a very long time, that's not a problem. the world needs men like Jackson Elias. And the second conclusion you guys all come to as you watch this, as he walks away from you, the world is better for Jackson Elias being in it. Men like Jackson, yeah, he just disappears. What a guy. Leaving the four of you to confer any last goodbyes with one another before you part ways for whoever knows how long.
And Mason, after a long train ride, hands on hips, kind of stretches in a lunge, stretches on the other side. I need to contact a couple of people and try to get all my shit back from that goddamn apostle. Kid, you can help me set up a bank account, right?
Yes, of course I will. And
Okay.
if you need any help getting your things back, I could probably ask around.
I also
Yeah.
have a very good lawyer.
Oh, that would be... We actually may need one soon for, Speaking of which, while all the three of you are here, do you want to help me take down Aphrodite's apostles?
What?
God, yes!
Just
What's
take it down.
Aphrodite's apostles?
That's the whorehouse that I live in. Do you want to help me take it down?
Fuck yes!
You lived in a whorehouse?
Mason looks at Sybil. Mason looks at Kit. Have I not been abundantly clear about what I do?
You said you just said you got work.
You know, I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it makes various incredibly vulgar hand gestures.
I just thought you enjoyed it. I don't know, fucking.
On the one hand, I do. On the other hand, I get paid.
Then you
That's the
can't.
amount. Okay. So there's a part of it that comes in. Matter of fact, let's talk about this over dinner. I can tell you all about it and some of the experiences.
Look,
that I've had.
hold on. Aphrodite's apostles.
Aphrodite's apostles.
Shitty people.
Aphrodite is a piece of shit.
Then you got me on your side.
Okay. So, I had this idea. We could talk to a couple of people. I have exchanged things with certain officials in this town. We could certainly talk to people.
As James, sorry, Mason, I did it one last time. Fuck, I did it one last time. As Mason is going off,
fuck it.
yeah, we begin, like, we zoom out and we kind of like pans away to like show the New York City skyline, and let's now break down what happens over the next few years. Before we jump into that, though, this actually, since this segues perfectly, yes, actually, through the efforts of Mason and now the people he's roped into it, later that year, the Bureau of Investigation leads a massive crackdown operation on the Aphrodite's Apostles in New York and breaks up that entire sex ring, which, you know, by the way, really fucked up, but it does deal in minors. Like, Mason was a minor when he was put into the prostitution ring. Yeah, it is super fucked up. Aphrodite herself gets 15 to life in Sing Sing prison for women. So she's put away for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go down the line here. And I'd like to ask you guys individually over the next few years, what is it you do? What is it you get up to? And how do you live your life? So starting with Jane.
Well, I guess James is going with Sybil. So they've got a lot of
Xander's dancing.
So I guess joint me and Kristen.
Yeah,
both-
so let's Sybil and James together. This might lump some other things into it, but yeah, I want to hear what you two have to say for at least a majority. Sure.
God, so I didn't think they were gonna get to the end, but it just sort of happened that way, and I was like, okay. So I think, and I'm 100% just making this the fuck up on the fly. So
I
feel
love it.
free
Yeah.
to tell me if anything does not work for you. Split. So
Right. It's like what I do know is that they apparently have a lot of exploring to do.
Actually,
yes,
Yes, actually, real quick, before we
shit.
get to you two, think about that for a second. I actually do want to ask, I will actually then shift my thing over to Atwis for a second to ask what Kit gets up to, and then I'll circle back over to you two for a moment.
Kit would, despite his experiences, Kit would still not feel comfortable spending a lot of time in America. Instead, he's probably going to go back to Europe for closure. Who knows? But there's some interesting medical research being done in Berlin. Dr. Hirschfeld especially has been doing research that has piqued Kit's interest, and spending time in France and Germany. Maybe after enough time has passed, he'll contact Erin and see if she wants to go to Europe with him to see what happened where.
I love that. Okay, now I will circle back to the power couple of the hour, in which Sybil has all the power.
In which Sybil has all the power. So
James has the physical power.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. So Sybil, of course. So initially, Sybil just sort of, honestly, a bit ago, Sybil probably would just, I'll just see the horrible thing that's gonna kill myself. And I just, you know, I want to live through adventuring. Actually, this is pretty fun. So she just wants to do all the exploring, do all the ghost hunting, just do as much adventure as she possibly can. So she and James just travel all over, just all over the place, all over the country, outside of the country, alternating between ghost hunting and bounty hunting. Big Bonnie and Clyde vibes, even though no serious laws are broken.
Basically, the way that James is going about it is he can find work pretty much anywhere, and if not, work will find him eventually somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just getting them a vehicle and going wherever the fuck she wants to go, really.
Yep, exactly. Which is very good, because she also happened to hear that Kit went to Berlin.
Yeah.
So while Kit's on the fucking ocean liner, suddenly there's James and Sybil just right there.
I love that. Yeah, in over the next couple of years, you go up to Canada, you find yourself in post-war France, you can spend a little time in Casablanca and Morocco, kind of tour around, you one point go to Spain, track down some of Sal Suarez's more intense Spanish ghost stories,
Yes.
Yeah, you do some light traveling over the couple of years. I'll ask you both just really quickly, do you two at any point get you ever move in together, or
I mean,
or
basically,
are you always on the move together, I should say? Is there a place you ever settle down between adventures, or are you mostly always on the move? Does James effectively move into Sybil's mansion that she has? Or what happened?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. He didn't even fucking think about that. He for a hot minute in just going along with Sybil and kind of doing this weird courting thing that he doesn't do very often. He almost completely forgot she was rich.
Yeah, they went around for a solid 8 months, and then Sybil's I feel like I could use some downtime, and so she just without we're gonna go to Baltimore. He just sort of mentioned they were going to Baltimore. James didn't really think about it. She had him drive up to the. Okay, well we're home. Come on in. What? Yeah, you can.
What?
I mean, there is a guest room if you want, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to stay in the guest room.
All right. Fuck. That being said, I'm sure he has a home back in Omaha where he keeps all of his little trophies on all of his adventures.
Yeah. So you occupy your time kind of between Sybil's mansion, your home in Omaha, and whatever travels your whirlwind romance gets up to, as indeed the both of you do some exploring. All right, awesome. What does Mason get up to in the intervening years after he is effectively freed from the lifestyle he was forced into?
Yeah. So Mason just kind of kept things normal for a little while. He was able, with the amount of money that he had and the amount of money that he collected, as well as, certain things that he might have gotten paid from settlement during court. Ooh, buddy. You have this kid who kind of didn't really have a whole lot to come from, suddenly having a lot of fucking money. So, first thing that he did was that he bought a house. He bought a house that he could actually live in New York and go there and stay there. And he actually took up performing on weekends, to which he met a fella who was talent seeking? Not entirely sure who this fella is. Looked kind of weird, looked a little old, but he just radiated opportunity. Speaking to Mason about, oh yeah, there's these new thing. You've seen him before. Come with me. Come to Los Angeles. I'm gonna introduce you to a couple of fellas of it. You ever heard of Paramount Kid? And Mason takes him up on that, and within the next couple of years, becomes a film star. A grade A1 at that. And then they make him grow a bit of a hero stubble.
It takes effort, but you get there.
It takes a little bit of effort. Took him about a year or two. After the second year, he realized, maybe if I just keep shaving, it'll all come in properly. And he was right.
Fuck yeah, Mason's an actor!
Yeah, I like to happily announce that Mason's occupation is no longer prostitute, but film actor. So he is now a film actor.
Yay!
Woo!
And I love that.
So proud of him.
Lastly,
I love that for him.
Sunil, we come to you now.
Sunil, he spends a few months at the. He totally stiffs them for a couple days. They don't know where he is, so he's gonna call later. But he he does spend a couple months there, but then like he reflects back on what happened in the past, like before that, and he just goes, you know what? I am incredibly homesick. Is there a way for me to like do what I can in Europe? So he goes back to Britain to stay with his mother and his father Gautam. He tends to his father, stays with his mother, tries to be like help out in the family as much as he can. About I don't know how many years have passed, but let's say at least after about 2 years of that, Gautam passes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He and seeing that his father has like the thing that is weighing on him so much has passed to an extent, he stays with his now widowed mother, and who has been trying to be very strong this entire time, and has to an extent where it's almost like a little harsh, but he sees her like soften up as the years go by, and he takes care of her, and he tries to stay in contact with everybody as much as possible. Like he's just like, oh, you're in Berlin? You crossed the pond? You're really over here? And it's just like it's like far enough away where he can't come see them, but it's like close enough where he's just like he's like getting secondhand from it. He's like vicariously living through like what everybody else is doing. He hears Mason has become like this big star, and he's just like, so proud.
Mason ends up in a movie with Mae Marsh, by the way. So full circle.
With Mae Marsh.
Sorry, Sunil just goes, Mother, I know both of them.
I know that.
I've got to say, I imagine if James and Sybil are so close to Sunil, they're probably going to stop by.
Yeah, they
one way or
probably
another.
they probably swung by like
Just
after
shows up.
Berlin's
Doesn't
great.
even
I've been
announce.
here forever, by which she means they stayed for a few months and then just showed up on Sunil's doorstep like, hey, we're here to hang out.
Like deadass doesn't even inform him, doesn't do nothing. One day he just gets a, and then he opens the door and he's just like, hey.
Hug.
And he's probably out here just like, how did you find me?
How did you find me? Oh, who cares?
Don't
Yes,
ask.
Atlas. Yes, Atlas.
I'd say probably like a few years in, like 3.5 years in, as Kid is heading back to the States to go meet up with Erin and maybe come back to Europe with her. He probably ends up in England and ends up meeting up with Sunil for a little while because it just makes sense.
It just makes sense. They gotta.
So
I'd imagine that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, please you go first because I'm gonna wrap it up after that.
I would imagine at some point them filming they would probably go overseas to certain locations. Thinking that they probably wouldn't want to go into a whole lot of areas because Hollywood at that time is Hollywood. So we're probably in London, filming somewhere.
All you have to do is tell him that you're in London, and he's just like, you know, mother, I'm gonna go to a set. You're fine.
Oh my god, Sunil ends up being a fucking extra in a movie.
Like they end up accidentally catching it on film of just like the leading guy talking to like this just random fella, but they don't have any more film reel to like refilm it, so they're just like, just keep fucking going, just keep going.
You skunk-haired boy, we need you.
All right, Skunkhead, you were talking with our leading fella, so now you're gonna be in the show. What's your name? Don't worry about it. We're gonna slap it on there anyway. Come here, get in the scene and
Makeup, costuming.
So, and of course, in the intervening years that follow, Jackson Elias publishes his next book. I believe. Let me double check one thing very quickly. Yes, he publishes it. In 1923, Jackson finishes the manuscript from his experiences in Peru and publishes his most recent book, The Hungry Dead, which details Peruvian death cults that have their origin in conquistadors. He omits all of the strange details that transpired, but the book is nonetheless very popular to the right audiences that it finds its way to. And of course, while you never, in these intervening years, see Jackson Elias again in person, you stay in constant contact with him in his many travels as he embarks on further adventures to find the next big story. And life continues as that. Until. So, in early January 1925, Sybil and James. It is a cold, wintry morning here in Maryland, in Baltimore. This is in between many of your adventures. You are enjoying the post-Christmas, post-New Year's decadence and celebrations, just kind of in relative comfort. In enjoying kind of just a little bit of downtime between the exciting things. When there is a knock at the door.
James is gonna go for it.
Yeah, you open the door.
You stay there.
Okay. Thank you.
The Christmas tree is still up in Sybil's living room. It's all glittery, and the decorations around her place are quite nice. You open the door, there's a courier standing there and says, "Oh, morning, sir. Message for you." And he holds a radiogram in an envelope over to you. Tips his hat.
Radiogram.
Yeah. Message that would be sent from overseas in a telegram form.
Right.
Yeah. Tips his courier hat to you and trudges back out into the snow to continue making his rounds. But
Probably
you
give him like a little tip before.
Yeah, you give him a little tip. Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate it.
The envelope is addressed to you and Sybil at this address.
He closes the door behind him, just like looks down at it, and is like, maybe a job, or probably Jackson. And he makes his way over back to their little sitting area. So we got a letter.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
And he's just gonna rip that open real quick. Let's see what we got.
You open it up. It is a telegraph paper from the Worldwide Telegraph Service. It reads very simply on it: have information concerning Carlisle expedition. Need reliable investigative team. Meet January 15th, New York. Jackson Elias. And that's where we're gonna end.
Guess we're going back to New York.
Guess we're going back to New York.
And that, my friends, is the ending of Call of Cthulhu, Path of Perdition.
Oh.
Epilogue.
Epilogue.
As the telegraph courier walks his way back to his car in the trudging snow, he gets back inside his vehicle, casts a glance over at Sybil's manor, pulls off his mask, and it's Peter Haas, and he drives off into the night. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
you one more
kidding.
in, didn't you?
I gotta get one more in there. I gotta get one more in
It is
there.
the final.
But that's
You
a
get
joke. That was a joke. No. So, a telegram from your old friend Jackson Elias concerning something called the Carlisle Expedition. I guess we'll find out more in the continuation. Call of Cthulhu. Masks of Nyarlathotep. Until then, Cthulhu Fatagan.
Cthulhu Fatagan.
Cthulhu.